Raise me up. Yes. Nice way to reflectively start.
Yep.
Throwback Thursday. Today be Thursday, so.
Thelma Thursday.
Thelma Thursday. How do you say Thursday in Ghana?
So.
I learned this thing when I was a Ghana teacher. So Ju for
Sure.
Sure. So her. Hogba. Thank you.
You are there.
Now say it in a verb. Joda. It's like if you can say it in tree, you can say it in Joda.
But then can I say it in tree?
You can. Joda is Joda. Blada. Kuda. Yauda. Fia.
Okay.
Saturday.
Sunday.
Memenda. Memlada. Then Koshida.
Okay. So language lessons happening live on breakfast.
Yes.
You never know what you learn from this breakfast table, do you? Language lessons on Thursday.
Exactly so, on Thursday. Good to have you here. Welcome. Good morning. How were your dreams? I had a dream that I didn't quite understand.
Hey.
So I was talking to this lady who looked like a guy.
Hey.
Those of you who interpret dreams, what does it mean when you're speaking to a lady who looks like a guy?
Should be coming for you.
Yeah, it looked like a guy, a friend of mine who works in a music studio, AB. So this lady was looking for so much like AB, and I was wondering what's going on. What did I eat last night before I went to bed and had this crazy dream? But if you are a dream interpreter, let me know. And one question I want to ask before Thelma jumps into issues: when was the last time you had malaria? When was the last time you had malaria? How about you? Last time?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Okay.
A while back I thought I did, but we tested.
It wasn't malaria. Okay.
So I don't even know what that was.
There was a time where every June I used to get malaria.
Like clockwork.
I'm telling you, June.
Mosquitoes.
June. But it's been a while now. It's great news on the malaria front because a new vaccine developed by African scientists, of which Ghana
was in the trial.
Yes, Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi. So
we made it.
Big news. So vaccinating kids against malaria. It's about time. If we could get a COVID vaccine in 18 months or something.
If we could get an HIV vaccine, I would be happy because the numbers among younger children are also going up. But hey,
malaria.
Maybe after 30 years, they would finally make some headway.
Indeed.
Or they would communicate some headway.
Yes.
That has been made.
Yeah. So that's big news in the trends. We'll be telling you more about that later on. But what do we have today?
Today we are starting our day right by checking on our health. So we are talking about malnutrition, and usually we know that it is children who are diagnosed to be malnourished. But I'm going to ask the question: can adults be malnourished as well?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's what we'll look at on the health check side of the table, and later on in the program we'll have a look at the NSS postings and when we can actually begin to make some kind of clear-cut decisions on who is going where. We'll also be looking at the Africa Real Estate Conference and Expo 2021 that's coming up. So we know that there's a huge housing deficit, especially in more urban centers, and we'll look at what the situation is like on the continent and if Africa can learn positive lessons from elsewhere to make the Ghana settings better. I mean, if Ghana can learn positive lessons from elsewhere in Africa, that's what I would be interested to look at. I'm sure your interest would lie elsewhere. Papers.
Yes, indeed. We'll be looking at the papers. And when you talk about national service, I was just thinking, I went somewhere yesterday and they were saying, Charlie, have you seen any big man whose child has been posted to some faraway village? Have you seen any big man whose child has been posted to some faraway village? But you should just
ask me if I know any big man or his children.
Are you a big man's child? Where have you been posted? Have you been taken to some faraway place? We want you to let us know. 055-556-1034. That's the WhatsApp number. Talk to us about your national service experience. Talk to us about your malaria experience. When was the last time you had malaria? The WhatsApp number is 055-5510. 555-556-1034. That means Valerie should be coming.
Wow, what do you have for us?
Coming.
Good morning. And so I'll be keeping an eye in Rushing Hour with Jay and Alan. We'll connect with them later on in the show. We'll be going around the Abilingpi Junction and the Achimota police station, looking at traffic situation and what's happening there. And then also we'll be looking at the littering along the Accra-Tema motorway. So if you have pictures or videos of places that have been littered or huge refuse dumps, you can send the videos and the photos to our WhatsApp number 055-5561-034. And then also we'll be having a conversation around traditional music and how it's evolved. Remember, the show is interactive, and so you can connect with us on our social media pages via the GTV hashtag on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. But we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. Over to you guys.
Okay, so I'm excited to see all the people that Val will have on the yellow couch.
Yes.
When they have that sit down on traditional music.
It will be you.
My mom was a member of the sensational Wolome, so I love traditional music. And every party that we've had in my house, you always needed to have one girl group, you know, doing the thing there. I should invite you to one of our.
Telling you, you're celebrity picking.
My mom.
Celebrity picking. You're celebrity picking. you.
So then my mom is a celebrity.
Yeah.
Good morning. We are thankful to our sponsors this morning. Awake Mineral Water, Shield Acrylic Paint, and Adonko Next Level Energy Drink. We encourage you to buy Awake because they donate 1 peso per bottle to the National Cardiothoracic Center and finance treatment for persons who cannot afford. So buy Awake and help others stay awake and stay alive. And I'm grateful to Biggest Scissors for my lovely outfits this morning.
Okay, Stallion Outlook for premium kaftan wear is the people you should be looking out for. Check them out on Instagram and check out Dr. Kofi Osei Kusi, who is asking you or suggesting that you should learn to uphold the good values. Yes.
In your culture.
In your culture. Check it out. Good morning once again.
Good morning. It's a beautiful morning to you. And guess what? I'm always very humbled to bring you our wisdom nugget for today. And today, as always, a nugget a day keeps the problems away. Our nugget for today is learn to uphold the good values in your culture. In every single culture, there are many great things in it that we need to look at and uphold and cherish and continue to do it as long as it's useful. But there are many good things in our culture. Without culture, we don't have a sense of identity. We need to cherish the good things in our culture. I have an African-American professor friend, and when I am with him and, doing different things, guess what? When he gets like a bowl of food, he just picks the bowl of food and, with all respect to African Americans, I don't have anything against that. I'm just making a point here. When he picks up his food, he just takes the food and starts to eat it. So he did it so many times that one day I said to my friend, I say, hey, we don't do that in Ghana. In Ghana, when you pick up a bowl of food, you literally must invite the people around you. And guess what? 99% of the time, nobody's really come to eat your food. But it's just a sign of love. It's a sign of respect. It's a sign of communality. Like, we're together. We're in this together. It's so beautiful that even I have seen it at restaurants. Everybody around have ordered their own food. And guess what? The person next to you gets the food first, and they invite you to come and eat with me. Isn't it nice? Are those no beautiful things in our culture? We have many beautiful things in our culture, like, respect. A lot of respect for elderly people. I was once in London, boarding a bus at this station, this bus station, and there was this boy. I think he was like 6 years old, and the bus driver was such an elderly man. He looked elderly, maybe 50s or something. And this boy was just calling him John. Hey, John. I'm like, goodness, you calling this guy John? Like, we don't do that in my country, and it's okay there. But those are things in our culture that we must cherish. But hey, this is the key one I really want to talk about and nail today. It's about learning to uphold our language. Language is so crucial for every culture. If you are a Ghanaian and you don't speak any Ghanaian language, I don't think it's good enough. And here is the problem. A lot of our children don't speak our local language. You know what? I was reading some research recently in many countries, particularly from South Africa, and it's coming all across the continent that our children are beginning to have a sense of identity crisis. They are getting into an identity crisis just because they have lost their language. I have made it a rule in my home. And I know I'm speaking English here, and I speak English at work, and I probably look like I speak English everywhere. But when I get home, I make it a rule that me fear me country. I speak my language at home. I've made it a rule for my children. You know, I was talking with one of my nephews, and he couldn't even say, you know, this is my name in the local language. And this boy who was born and bred in Ghana, he's not lived outside, and yet he can't even tell his name in his local language. And hey, when you talk like that, you know, people begin to, you know, throw all kinds of things about you. Oh, you're talking about culture, so why do you even wear a suit sometimes? Or why are you speaking English? Please, let's get a balance. You know, one of the key pillars of wisdom, like I have shared previously, is balance. We need to have balance. I'm not saying that speak Twi or speak Ewe or speak Ga all the time. I'm not saying that. Neither am I saying that because we're talking about culture, you should always be, you know, in African dress. Not necessarily. I'm saying that you need to get a balance. I've noticed that even you know, His Royal Highness the Otumfuo would sometimes, when he has foreign dignitaries, will speak English with them. You know, it's a balance, and so get the balance right. Like I said, I have made it a rule in my house that my children, you got to speak our language because you belong here. It doesn't matter how much English you speak, you are never going to be an English person. It doesn't matter how much French you speak, you are never going to become a Frenchman or woman. So look out for the good values in your culture and uphold it. That is key to wisdom, and that will give you a sense of identity and will give you some sense of good pride. You need it, you need it, and you need it. So let's cherish the good things in our culture and go out there and be, in quotes, proud of your culture, proud of yourself, but never look down on other people's culture as well. So enjoy your day, keep smiling, and keep enjoying this wisdom nuggets. And guess what? Keep enjoying the breakfast show. Have a great day, and have a beautiful day, and have the best of days.
Something happened in the Ashanti region, and as we settle into looking at social media trends, we'd like to put a little focus on the death of 3 persons at the Drabing oil mills plant factory, and we just want to highlight that issue very, very briefly. We're hearing that 3 people died in that explosion, and it was because of a faulty boiler which was operating at the factory. Drabing oil, they produce palm oil and other stuff. So 3 people unfortunately lost their lives. Others have been injured and sent to hospital where they are receiving treatment. Yesterday at 2 o'clock on GBC News, we spoke to our Ashanti regional correspondent, and at the time he said the officials were very tight-lipped about the details of what may have caused that to happen. And I'm guessing that some kind of investigations would be underway to bring some clarity to the case as it relates to the cause of the accident.
Yeah, brings to mind focus on safety and security, and to think that these some of the people who died were on industrial attachment, you know, and then this
they are not this permanent
happens.
staff.
Yeah, the explosion and the hot water was just flung all over the place, and people died. Some were also injured in hospital as we speak, and so we want to think about security issues. And for me, it's a bit poignant because 4 years to today, I mean 4 years ago on October 7, 2017, there was another big explosion at the atomic area, which claimed the lives of so many people. Huge fireball, gas station explosion. I remember that day very vividly.
I covered that accident the day after, and even then it was not an easy situation. Fires are so unpredictable, and they just spread where they spread. So if you just happen to be in the path that it's traveling in, and then you just get caught up in that, it's very disappointing. And the fact that health and safety issues are being raised, especially because there are other workers of the company who may rightfully feel some kind of way about going back to work. I hope they'll get some kind of counseling, and the health issues would be addressed.
Yes.
The safety issues would be addressed.
And we hope the committee or whatever commission that is set up to investigate comes out quickly with findings, recommendations, and they are implemented. I'm curious about what happened after the atomic explosion. You know, what was done to make sure that things don't happen again like this. I remember there was a tunnel disaster in Japan some years back. Some tunnel collapsed. Within 24 hours, all tunnels in the country were shut down. You know, quick investigation, and then they had recommendations so that this thing doesn't happen again. You know, this nyami boa, oh, fama nyami, oh, mau, and people are dying, and then mau, and then delegations to go and say sorry and do donations and bury people. It has to end at some point in time.
To be fair, the company did say that in its 40 years or so of operation, such a thing has never happened before. So if that is right, then they do have a good record, and this may very well be an unfortunate turn of events that unfortunately left 3 people dead and several others injured.
Now tell that to the family of the people. So the family don't care about that 40-year record, you know.
But then again, it brings to for the security and safety in our workplaces too. Sometimes even a simple tile gets out of place, and then it never gets replaced, and then it keeps another one go, and then it keeps spreading, and then until something happens. There's nothing, we never do anything about it. I mean, we've been going on and on and on and on about our roads and back and forth. Remember the motorway when there were these huge craters before it was. Remember how many times we had to speak? It took an accident, actually 2 accidents that day for the road to be prepared. So, a stitch in time saves 9.
The company says operations have been suspended, and whilst investigations into the matter continue, and we look forward to hearing about the findings of whatever investigations are conducted into that incident, and our condolences to the bereaved families, and we wish those who are receiving treatment also a speedy recovery. Still on health, on the malaria front, the Anopheles mosquito is in trouble because he's been rendered more and more ineffective. If the malaria vaccine trial approval we are hearing has been issued, it takes off as we expect it should be. Ghana participated in the trials. CAF, as you said.
Yes, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi.
And we did quite well. I think the findings were very satisfactory, and now we have a vaccine.
Yes, and rollout will begin in those countries that we listed, and we're speaking further on this later on the show. And I asked the question, when was the last time you had malaria? Some people say they've never had malaria before. I used to have it every June, but now it's gone. And a couple of comments. Somebody on Twitter, on Facebook, Hans Entry says, now I also use a mosquito net, so I don't remember the last time I had malaria. The way these vampires were worrying me, I then made a New Year resolution to sleep in net always. So another comment, Kuma SNM Aku Shika, I'm struggling with it right now. Not good at all. We all know that malaria.
Malaria is not. If you get 2+, you're enjoying. If you get 3+, you are literally flying.
I never knew about this plus thing until this morning.
The parasites.
The parasites.
Oh, okay.
When you do the blood test, they'll tell you whether it's 1+, 2+, or 3+, and the more pluses, the more positives you get.
That's how intense your symptoms are going to get. It gets to the point where you can't see, you start hallucinating, sweating.
Wow.
It's malaria is horrible. I remember once, I'm referring to my mom a lot today. She came to Ghana and she got malaria. And then when she went back to base, they put her in quarantine. And this was before the time of COVID.
Wow.
And so quarantine was, it came as a complete shock to me, because like, your mom is in quarantine. For what?
Malaria.
Then they said malaria.
Ghana.
But you see, it's serious.
It's a big deal.
think about it this way. The early missionaries, whether you belong to the Catholic faith, the Methodist faith, the Anglican faith, the early missionaries who came to Ghana to spread the word, most of them died of malaria.
Most the mortality rate was very high.
Of malaria. Thomas Birch, Freeman, name them. Danwell, most of them died of malaria. So we've come a long way in the fight against the disease. And like I said, as for Anopheles, even the vaccine itself is called Mosquirix or something.
It's a good name. Deal with it. Yeah. So what do you think about that? In a new malaria vaccine, 055 556 1034. Last time you had malaria, we're curious to know. Lots of comments coming in on Facebook. I'll read one more before Thelma continues. Last week, that's what John Apeka Godwe says. That's the last time he had malaria. So share your malaria stories with us.
Right. So the world has gained a new weapon, is what the WHO is saying, and it's among the oldest known and deadliest of infectious diseases, the first vaccine shown to help prevent the disease. And by one estimate, it will save tens of thousands of children each year. Remember, malaria kills about 500,000 people, nearly all of them in sub-Saharan Africa, including 260,000 children under 5. So this would really go a long way to reduce the child mortality rates in sub-Saharan African countries a bit more, and we are excited. I'm sure that the health experts would be very happy to share their thoughts on this. We've already received calls from some of our regional correspondents. Good morning, John Samatha, Bono Region correspondent. We know that the Kintampo Health Facility, for example, is really excited, and we'll get in touch with you very, very shortly, very soon, so we can explore this excitement a bit further. And so if all this health talk has overwhelmed you a bit and you are a football fan, you probably saw what happened between Spain and Italy yesterday. Cap.
Yes.
Why is that so exciting?
Because De Gea was playing.
Of course.
You had to
put that in there.
But I wanted Italy to win because I prefer Italy over Spain.
Of course you would.
But for some reason, Italy lost, and the 37-match unbeaten match streak has come to an end. The Spain coach was telling us, he says, well, it was inevitable because anything that starts must have an end. So, yeah, so 2-1. Congratulations to Spain. An Italian was sent off. Bonucci was sent off, but it's no excuse. You're supposed to have 11 players on the team at all times. So if you get sent off, that's your problem. So congratulations to Italia. To Spain, to
Espanol.
Okay, all right. Congratulations to them. And Jordan Youth is doing well. So,
but you see, people would always say, "If I beat you on penalties, have I beat you?"
Did you win or not?
Exactly.
I wanted you lot to say it yourselves because me Spain. Blaugrana forever. So
you won.
Blaugrana forever. Spain won that match, and so some highlights that we're seeing now on the big screen. Let me just give you a few seconds to savor the highlights of the match. Okay.
Oh, they were 2-0 up, and then they got a this thing. Somebody sent off, and that was it. And they scored a consolation. So great. This is the Nations League competition. The other semi-final is between France and Belgium. Who do you think is going to win?
France and Belgium. I would say France, but Belgium is a really good side, and I wouldn't want to write them off. Okay.
Any predictions? France, Belgium?
I just want France to win.
That's all.
I just want France to win.
For no reason. She doesn't have a reason.
Yes,
say something you French for me.
Oh,
merci beaucoup.
Oui.
Yes, that's yes.
Yes?
S'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît.
Yeah.
Anything more?
No, it's okay.
RSVP. Okay, guys. This has been social media trends, and we are getting ready to go on the health side of the table. Today we're discussing malnutrition, and there is so many exciting things on the table you should look out for. So you two really listen. Sorry. There's kontomire in the house. There's what's that one called? The root crop. Cocoyam. There's all kinds of exciting stuff are happening, but you find out the details on the other side of the break, and we'll be back to sit down with our experts who will delve into all you need to know about malnutrition. We'll be back after this break. Remember, the hashtag is GTV Breakfast.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
Yet on GTV. What are you?
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
Shield acrylic paint and Adonko Next Level energy drink. You can also play virtual soccer and other games by going on mybet.africa.com, enter the bonus code GTV, and you get the opportunity to play so many games, virtual soccer, spin to win, and all those other games that you may be interested in. You get 100% money back on your first lost bet if you play with mybet.africa. So join the truly Ghanaian home of betting, MyBet Africa, the home of betting. We're also grateful to Big Scissors for my lovely outfit. Follow them on Instagram. They are also on Facebook, and buy from them as well. On the health side of the table this morning, we are talking about malnutrition, a major public health issue with an alarming figures that the people who are suffering from malnutrition, they also suffer consequences because of their poor diets. And as a result of this, a unit at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital is educating the general public about health eating practices as part of the oncoming 2021 World Food Day program. And with me at the table to look at malnutrition and other issues surrounding the World Food Day program, from my immediate left, Madame Juliana Yeboah-Demenya, HOD and Chief Dietitian at the Dietetics and Nutrition Unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Welcome, Madame Juliana.
Thank you.
And right next to her is another registered dietitian, Ama Pokwe from the same department, so the Department of Child Health at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Ama, thank you for joining us and welcome as well.
Thank you.
And look at the colorful display of fruits and vegetables that you brought to us. And it's just to bring home the need for us to eat healthy and to make healthier choices in our diet. When we talk about malnutrition, we only think about children, and maybe I'll start with you, Ama, because you are from the Department of Child Health and also registered dietitian. Is it only children who can get malnourished? Because Kwashiorkor is only children with swollen bellies walking around and with loss of hair, thinning hair. You don't see adults with that a lot.
Okay, so there are different parameters to assess malnutrition amongst children and amongst adults. So for in children, we have the MWAC, the weight for age, and other parameters. But for adults, the reason why people will think adults are not malnourished is because most of the parameters and most of the classifications and others are not being known to many other people. But yes, adults do get malnourished. So we have BMI ranges, so that's the body mass index. So as per your range, we can tell whether you're malnourished or not. So the whole idea that children are the only ones that get malnourished is very wrong.
It's a wrong assessment.
Yes, please.
At what point do you say someone is malnourished?
Right, so just like I said, there are basic parameters for that. So for kids, we use their weight for age, we use their weight for height, weight for length, and we use other MWAC, etc. So as per the indexes, so when you measure and then you get your results, you compare it to the charts as provided by WHO, and then you can tell whether they are malnourished or they are underweight. You put them in classifications. Yes, so that's for kids.
So there's a clear difference between being malnourished and being undernourished.
Malnutrition or being malnourished is it's an umbrella name for everything. So the whole idea of you being, let's say, out of weight, as in you have lost a lot of weight, so you are malnourished, is even false to some extent, because malnutrition covers both ends of under and overnutrition. So if you have lost a lot of weight, you are malnourished. If you have gained a lot of weight, you are also malnourished.
That's very surprising to me, because I always thought, sure, if you're not eating well, then you have
it's a common misconception. So malnutrition is a bigger angle. So it looks at both ends, just like I said. So the whole idea that you've lost weight or you're a bit skinny or you're a bit slimmer than people expect you to be, so you're malnourished, is not so true, because if someone also has a BMI, that's the body mass index, above what WHO expects us to have, you're also malnourished. So it looks at both ends of the circle.
Okay, we're seeing some an image on the screen now, and can you speak to what we are seeing?
Okay, so this child is clearly malnourished. So there are so many factors. So you can see the visible ribs, the things past hair. All these things are things we use to assess and diagnose children of malnutrition. So yes, and there are other biochemical tests and other things that will tell us what exactly or what kind of malnutrition we are looking at exactly. There's kwashiorkor, there's marasmus, there's SAM, there's MAM. So as per your expect assessment, you can tell or classify the kids under the specific type of malnutrition, so you can treat as such.
And obviously this other child is also showing some of the signs that you've talked about, the ribs showing and the hair and the bulging eyes. They are all signs that a parent, if you see this, you need to get the child some help.
Yes.
Would they be similar in an adult who was also malnourished?
Some of the characteristics or some of the signs cut across, but not always. So just like I said, for the adults, there's a body mass index. So body mass index is the ratio of your weight to your height times 2, or your height squared. Let me put it that way. So if you are below 18.5, you are most likely underweight or malnourished. If you are above 25.5, there are so many classifications. You are either overweight or obese. So as per all these assessments, we can tell whether you are underweight or you are overweight or obese. So that's for adults.
Right. Madam Juliana, I'm sure that what Amma is saying is very agreeable to you. What more could you add to what she's told us?
You see the first and the earlier on the picture she showed, the one that with the
mother carrying.
Yes, and then the mother is also malnourished. Do you see? If you can go back to
that
if
we can go back to that image.
Yes.
The mother is also malnourished.
Yes. So whatever mother eats can also affect your child. Then another thing that she is forgetting to talk about is the obesity rate, which is she talk about the undernutrition, which is the malnutrition, where I will be talking about the overnutrition.
Okay.
So we say when you talk about the malnutrition, don't necessarily that's a problem with your nutritional status. So then you have over and under. So you look at the World Food Day. Is look at why are we celebrating the World Food Day and why are we here? That is the question that we should be asking ourselves. Because the World Food Day was formed around, I like talking about stories where my children will say why. In 1945, immediately after the World War, then the world global people started sitting down to see why people are getting sick and then how we can eradicate hunger. And that is the whole idea. And then, so this year's own will be held in Brussels, in Belgium. But the theme for the occasion is our actions, our future, a better production, a better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life. So let's look at it again. All the time when we choose, we say our actions, our future. Then we go back and at the end we say a better life. But somebody asks, why are we saying production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life? As we go on now, we'll explain things to you further.
Okay.
But for me being here as a chief dietitian and HOD of the Nutrition and Dietetics Department, I'm here to sell 2 products. I'm also selling my products. And the products are Nutrition and Dietetics Department and then Kolebu Teaching Hospital. So my sister of my RD, the registered dietitian, we're talking more about the malnutrition. Was I focus on the activities and programs that we intend to do for the general public as we celebrate our day from the 11th to the 16th. And the 16th one is the most important for us and what we intend doing. You see, you saw all these things here. And you saw in a calabash, you saw in another calabash. So Amapukwa is talking full English, big. I'm sure you were confused. So I said we should go indigenous. So just this is the prelude to the main action. So we're going indigenous very soon. Why should we be eating certain foods when we should be eating our own foods? So these are some of the things that so many topics that will be coming up as we go along.
And it's another one that I want to perhaps put to you,
When I was looking at the things, I said, bring me this.
Why are we losing grounds against healthy eating when we have all this variety right in our markets, in our localities, and people are undernourished or overnourished, as you're saying?
And that is the problem now. So globally, you see, when we look at the theme for the occasion, you see that all stakeholders are involved. And the stakeholders are like the production people. Who are the production people? The farmers. And we should cherish them. Somebody said, why are you talking about food? We are talking about food because we use food to treat our patients. And so why shouldn't I talk about food? And so you see the stakeholders involved are production. So the farmers, the agriculturalists, will be talking about better action, a better future, a better production, for a better life. For us, I talk about a better action. Our actions are future, and a better nutrition and a better life. Whilst they will be talking about actions, our future, a better production and a better life. That is for the farmers and the Greek people. You remember the environment that we live into also has to play part. So the environmental people will also come in. Then they will say our actions, our future, a better environment and a better life. So you see that all stakeholders who are involved should be in. And so why are we here as nutritionists and dietitians at Kolebu Teaching Hospitals? Well, as I said, I'm promoting my department and I'm promoting Kolebu Teaching Hospital as well.
So I come back to my earlier question. Why is it that even though there's all these and more available on our markets, people still make the choice to eat inappropriately? Is that even a word that you use in your circles?
Okay, so one thing you realize once you start practicing the clinical field is that there's been a lot of gentrification of a lot of food. So even a lot of us in the urban communities, just like, so example, Ncaa, want to be linked to a lot of societal class by eating westernized foods as compared to the indigenous foods. So that's one of the major, and I personally would say that some people prefer the convenience of some of these fast foods, which is wrong, because you know most of our assessments, one thing you see or you find throughout is the increase or the rise of fast foods, quick foods, packaged foods. All these things, they are one of our major problems in the hospitals because they are linked to so many things as compared to the raw products, the indigenous food as we see here.
Okay.
So yes, you're right, because you understand why we would have all these things available in our local communities right at our doorsteps, but people opt to go for other options.
I'll come to you, Ma'am Juliana, on this one. The array that you have before you now, which would you recommend to, for example, children transitioning from maybe breast milk to more solid foods? You throw it back to Amma. Okay.
So exclusive breastfeeding is promoted for 6 months. So after 6 months, we expect parents to wean off to complementary foods. Okay, so fortunately for us, we even had a cooking demonstration in association with World Cancer Awareness Month, and we had a lot of these things being done. So we used raw materials like the staples like corn, dough, we used yam, we used contomere, and then we developed fortified menus for children who have cancer. So we brought it to the average Ghanaian, because you realize that there's this misinformation out there that when you come to the dietitians, we are always talking about foreign food, and we usually, like, you know, popularize in quotes our stuff, and so we decided to break it down to the average Ghanaian. So we use turkey berries. So you know turkey berries help in the production of iron.
Hold it up for us. So that's
exactly. So that's turkey berries. Okay. And then all the greens are very rich in iron as well. So we are looking at that for vitamin C as well. So we are looking at tomatoes for potassium, almost all these other nutrients.
Adon is in the Ghana community, that's what we call it. So?
So Akosia Tumsoy, Akosia Koko, and also the local community. apple.
This is our local one.
Banana.
Banana, yep. We know that one.
So for a child transitioning to complementary feeding, we'll encourage you to try lots of other things. So a typical thing, or the most common thing that most Ghanaian mothers do, are the porridges. But we like mothers to try and fortify with lots of things, because when their kids are growing, they need a lot of these nutrients. So unlike, I always tell my patients that unlike we the adults who might have like a reduced amount or reduced need for fats, the kids don't, on the other hand, don't need a reduced. So you incorporate fortification with oils, with all these protein and egg, all these things. But of course, every child is different. So we at Uphold Teaching Hospital, specifically my department at Child Health, we look at the kids individually and then we prescribe diets that suit their condition, tailored diets, exactly.
Okay, so for World Food Day, and I'll bring this to you because this is, you're very passionate about it. What exactly is the message Kolebu wants to send out there, and what should people be aware of?
Okay, the message is that our actions, whatever you do now, is your future. Whatever will happen to you. So, and then we want a better nutrition and then a better life for all of us. So, as she said, some of the topics that I want to put across are the fast foods. But that one will be strictly for our students. And that will be done by myself and other dietitians. And the students, we will have foreign students to involve. So strictly for our students, we have foreign students from US, South Africa, and then local, I think University of Ghana surely will be part, and then I think UHAS will be part, that is the UHAS University of
Health and
we are waiting for other universities. Tech, I think we are looking for only,
to come on board.
Yes, we are looking for only 4 because it's a webinar series.
Okay.
And then it will all be connected with MSSI, who are part of our sponsors. And then somebody will be talking about the detoxification diet.
Detoxification
diet, and it will be handled somewhere. It's a video to be shown on air. And then another one is the Mediterranean diet.
So is this open to everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
So
will you share the link?
We will share the link, and then from 11th to the 15th, or to that 16th, at the far court of in front of our department in Kolebu, we'll have a food display of our local foods, and then we'll explain to you what it is. And then when we went to...
Only display, no eating.
We'll have another display where a food processing company will come and do how we convert fruit into juice. It will be done in front of our department too again.
Also from 11th to 16th.
Yes, and that one is, I think, is on the 13th or something. Then we'll go to the Tuesday market, Kolegono. And that is why the action we will talk. You say you are Ghana. Man, we are Ghana. So that is the time that we will see Kolebu. We have everything. And
that's just behind Bralosi.
Yes, so our MP, Honorable South Africa, my MP has given us a van to talk all over the Tuesday market and the Trotro station about food handling, how to handle food as we are still in the COVID era. Then we move on to normal adult education.
How do people join this?
So you watch your same GTV again from the 7th going to the 11th. We have all speaking in our local languages. You'll be surprised that we have everything. When we are selecting, we select the best, and so we have almost everybody in Ghana speaking Wala, from Dabani to Hausa to Nzima. Even the Akan, we have the 2 types of the Akan. We have the Ekrapim tree and Asante.
If we allow her, she'll go.
That's why I say don't bring me in here. I should come.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing those insights with us. Demenya,
yes,
HOD, Chief Dietitian, Dietetics and Nutrition, Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Thank you, Ma'am Juliana. And also another registered dietitian, Amapokuya Opokuefiye, Department of Child Health, also at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Thank you, Amma, for joining us. Ladies, you've been amazing. Thanks for explaining more nutrition, undernutrition and overnutrition to us, and for opening us up to this celebration of World Food Day, which will be held from the 11th to the 16th of October, a mix of activities planned over the days, and we hope that the partnerships that you seek, you are able to get it, and then we all get better, our health is improved, and less numbers will come to Korle Bu because of nutrition-related diseases that we could prevent with the correct choices. We hope that you've also learned a few things. The encouragement is to eat more of our local foods and less of the processed foods, so that we get the maximum nutritional benefits from them. Valerie is standing by to link us up with our guys on the ground to monitor traffic situations across the city, and we'll link up with her now. Val, what's that?
Thank you, T. We're going to be speaking to Alan. We are connecting with him in a bit. Alan is at the Achimota police station area, and there he is in a shot. Alan.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Achimota police station intersection, Valerie. I really quite enjoyed the conversation between Zelma and the dietitians in the studio. That's really very good for such a morning, in fact, the morning after the rain. Traffic situation at this intersection is what I would describe generally as the normal flow from two ends, and then a bit of an abnormal flow from two other ends. So behind me is the general direction towards Abofu and parts of Achimota News Station, and that would normally bring traffic on from parts of the Pokwasi interchange, if that is finding its way onto the N1, avoiding the main Accra Insawam Road, so that they could get through the back end and then onto the N1. And so you would find that, but behind me, there would be a little build-up. There would be a little build-up, and this would bring the traffic from, as I described earlier, that end of town towards this intersection. And then when you move away from there and you're taking the north end, as you can see those coming from behind me turning, both left and right, that would take traffic to the north end of town. That will take traffic to the north end of town, and this will bring on also traffic from Kisema, part of Anumle, and then also West Legon or Westlands, and this would be making its way either towards the Achimota Old Station or Abofu, or making their way onto the N1, and then from there you will have traffic. You'll have traffic coming in also from that same part or from behind me onto that side of town. And if you have the benefit of the eye in the sky, you will see the tailback from the intersection all the way onto parts of the Achimota golf course and beyond. If we have to make our way back, panning through from the police station and then bringing onto your view traffic coming in from the N1 or parts of Abelenkwe and then Big Farm, you'll have traffic moving in, albeit really very smooth and slow, but not because there is a pile-up. It is because the traffic lights out here are fully functional and there is no problem with them at all. You'll have every now and then a few school children or school people from the neighboring class of schools as well as the Achimota school who will patiently wait until the lights are green or red for them to go through. This is rush hour at the Achimota intersection, coming to you from directly opposite the Achimota police station. Back to you in the studio, Val.
Thank you, Alan. Well, that was our colleague Alan who brought us updates as to what's happening with traffic at the Achimota police station area. This show is interactive. We are live on all our social media handles. And then, do you know that you can play games and check out of boredom? You have to join mybet.africa now and enter the bonus code GTV for a bonus to play more games, virtual soccer, my bet league, spin to win, drops and wins, and other exciting games. You also grab a 100% money back on the first lost bet placed after making a deposit. Join the truly Ghanaian home of betting now, My Bet Africa, home of betting. This show is also kindness, by kindness of Awake purified water. Remember that every time you buy a bottle of Awake, a fraction of that goes to the cardiothoracic center, where it pays for people and patients who cannot afford healthcare. Also, later on in the show, the lifestyle segment is by kindness of Airtel boutique. Later on, we'll still have a sit-down with a seasoned group of people to talk traditional folklore music in Ghana and its evolution. Later on in the show, coming up pretty soon, Kaf will be sitting down with his guests to discuss what's happening across the headlines in the newspapers. You can send in your comments, and here you can start a conversation. You never know. Remember also that our Two Hearts we premiered on Monday on the Lifestyle channel of GBC is still showing, and you can send us your comments via that too. We'll take a break now.
Please, I've not killed anyone. I just do what I'm saying.
Your Honor, since the accused has been in the dock for a while, please permit me to serve him some water to drink.
You promised to give me water. This water is coming from the gutter. It will make me sick.
Your Honor.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is The Breakfast Show.
Indulging in galamsey. And since you don't want to mention the names of your bosses, you have been sentenced to 25 years in prison. This is my judgment.
Please, I'll talk. Mr. Francis is bad. Mr. Mountain is bad. Mr. Usu. Please, Your Honor, please.
Yenjai galamsey. Yenjai galamsey.
I am 7 years old.
Beep, beep, beep.
I am 4 years old.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is The Breakfast Show.
Welcome to Russia. So this morning I'm reporting from Malaria Junction here in the Yaosu West Wogon constituency in the Greater Accra region. So this junction, from here, this intersection, you can get to any number of various destinations, including Achimota. You can get to Agbelempe. You can go all the way to Jowulu. You can get to Ebony Junction, Perez Dome, and go all the way to 37. Yeah, so in terms of traffic this morning, it's a very, very busy Thursday morning. And as you can see behind me, for those who are coming from Achimota using the N1, it could be they are coming from La Paz and all. heading towards this side of town. The traffic is building up for them. You can see it going all the way to the back. That's what road commuters who are using this corridor will face this morning. So for people who are using this side, you can find some alternative roads which won't bring you to this side of town. That will be fine because you avoid all this rush. Comparatively, when you turn towards the Belenpe Road, you realize for them there isn't that much traffic for them. For them, when they are coming towards the main road, they don't face that much situation. You find some people who are using alternative routes such as the fire service lane just at the junction at the back, and then come to join the main traffic that is going towards the Ebony Junction, heading towards 37 and going towards Kaukudi, Roman Ridge and all that. I just want to draw your attention that the fire service station is just around us. That's the building you see just behind the brush of flowers that you see over there. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but that's the fire service lane I'm speaking about. And you can tell for those who are currently at Perez Dome, the traffic lights over there, you can tell the traffic is building up extensively for them as well. So for those heading in that direction as well, you will face some amount of traffic. Comparatively, those who are heading on the opposite lane, heading towards the Achimota, the N1 and all that, they are not facing that much of a traffic situation. And on the Elizabeth Sutherland lane, which is paying tribute to one of the legendary icons in the country, I've had the opportunity to perform and read some of her books, so I appreciate the talent so much. You can tell they have nothing worrying them. So from this side, you can head towards Mofra Place, and that's an event place. You can go all the way to Joel as well. So in terms of traffic, it's for those who are heading into town, as you can see right in front of me. For those who are coming from Achimota and the N1, heading into the Central Business District. So this has been the traffic update. My name is Jay Gabra. Thank you so much. Back to you, Val, in the studio.
Thank you, Jay. That was Jay who brought us those updates from the Agbelimpe Junction area. So you might want to leave home if you haven't left home because traffic has already started. Later on in the show, we'll be discussing the release of the National Service Postings and the Africa Real Estate Conference and Expo 2021. We'll also be looking at the traditional folklore music here in Ghana and how it's evolved. Meanwhile, CAF is getting ready to discuss what's trending on the newspapers with his guests. So we're going to have 3 gentlemen on there, and that's how the show has begun, and it will end nicely. GTV Breakfast.
Welcome to GTV Breakfast. A lot to look forward to on today's show. But yesterday I was thinking about some great news I heard about malaria, and I just asked, so when was the last time you had malaria? You know, I sent that question out on Facebook, and so many comments are coming in. Mami Ama says, still not recovered, which means she's actually suffering the aches and chills of that disease right now. Wisdom Rockefeller says, 2 months ago, and ever since then, I've been extra careful with myself. And Profina Usu Ajipoma says, 2 weeks ago, I nearly died. We're talking malaria because yesterday there was some historic news with the rollout of a historic malaria vaccine for children, which has begun. On the line to speak to us about just how significant this piece of news is is the program manager at the National Malaria Control Program for Ghana, Dr. Kezia Mom. Good morning, Dr. Mom, and welcome to GTV Breakfast.
Good morning, Mr. Day, and thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure. Kezia, so this is the news that we've had on the wire since yesterday, that children across much of Africa are to be vaccinated against malaria in a historic moment in the fight against the deadly disease. That's how the Daily Graphic reports it. How significant is this piece of news concerning malaria?
This is indeed quite significant, and we are happy. You know, malaria is a disease that continues to bother us throughout the year. Last year, for instance, we recorded about 10 million suspected malaria cases, out of which almost 5 million were truly confirmed as malaria. So any opportunity for us to reduce these numbers is great news for us. The vaccine currently, with the pilot studies that we did, realized that it's able to reduce severe malaria or hospital admissions by 30%. So you can imagine 30% of 5 million confirmed or 30% of 10 million suspected is quite significant. So we are quite happy that we have a vaccine to start.
What's the role of Ghana in the development of this vaccine, Kezia?
So Ghana was involved in the development of this vaccine in the sense of being a site for first the implementation of the clinical trials. Ncaa Research Center was key in playing in undertaking the clinical trials. Even beyond the clinical trials, Ghana, as part of the three-member country group, undertook the pilot implementation, where we needed to see whether we will get the impact that we did under the clinical trial. You know, clinical trial, everything is very ordered, very organized. In the normal routine service, it's not the same. So we were part of the three-country team that did the pilot for routine implementation for us to see that whether the impact we saw in the clinical trial will see and whether we'll get any side effects that is so bad that we can't use this. So that's the role that Ghana plays.
And so Ghana and Kenya and Malawi were involved in these trials, which I believe started in 2019. Is that correct?
Yes, Ghana, Malawi, and Kenya.
What were the challenges you had in administering these trial vaccines?
So basically, I think it started from the fear that we have, people have against vaccines. When we were starting, there was a lot of talk about these vaccines and whether the vaccines that we are giving to the people, we are not going to harm them and things like that. That was the first hurdle. But thankfully, we overcame that hurdle. And if you look at the acceptability of the vaccine, it means by and large people had accepted it. The other thing that we had was COVID coming in. We started in 2019 and COVID hit us in 2020. So that was also a challenge. But thankfully, we still were able to meet our target, at least for the first to the third doses. And the greatest challenge has to do with the 4th dose, which happens in the 2nd year of life. Generally, because most mothers take their children to antenatal, to child welfare clinics, till about 1 year and so anything you put in the 2nd year of life is difficult. So I think that's the challenge in getting people to come back for the 4th dose. So we got around 40%, which is expected for things we do in the 2nd year of life.
So let us know how many shots of this vaccine will a child have to protect them from malaria?
So generally, there are 4 shots that a child needs to get to protect them from malaria.
Okay.
3 of them happen before the age of end of age 1, and then the last one in the age of 2 years.
How many children were you able to cover during the trial period?
globally, about 2.1 million doses were given, covering the three regions, covering roughly 750,000 children. Ghana was responsible for about 1/3 of these, so roughly around 200,000 children were vaccinated in Ghana.
So now the rollout is WHO approved. What does that mean for Ghana? What should we expect to see or hear from you and your program?
So it's early days yet. The WHO has stated its position. There's a lot of discussion that has to go into place at the global level, how the vaccines will be available, the cost, how the funding will be. And the country, the Ministry of Health, will also have its own discussions, get a technical group together, look at the cost and all the implications, and decide the next steps, whether we are taking the vaccine or not, and how we make sure that people get it.
I'm just curious, will adults benefit from this vaccine?
Directly, no. This vaccine is for children under 5. Like I think they get it they finish the schedule by the age of 2. But indirectly, yes, because children under 5 are the most affected. So if you are able to reduce disease in children, the time that adults spend in taking care of these children is reduced. And also, once you bring transmission levels down, it means everybody's risk is slightly reduced. So indirectly, that's how adults will benefit from that.
And lastly, on a personal note, as a mother, how significant is the development of this vaccine? Because I'm pretty sure that at some stage you had to deal with malaria in your own children.
Oh my God! I think sometimes we see that the norm. Malaria has become so part of us, and we are so used to getting our children fall sick of malaria that it's like it should happen. So I am so happy that this vaccine has come. And you know, the way vaccines has helped us to deal with so many diseases. All these vaccines, in fact, none of them is 100% efficacious, but you see the impact. So I'm hoping that this vaccine reduces the number of times mothers spend taking their children to the hospital for malaria. But please, the caveat is this vaccine was tried in the presence of all the existing interventions. So it's not coming to replace our interventions. It's coming to complement the existing interventions. And with the effort, the impact we get from all these interventions plus the vaccine means we are looking forward to seeing a greater impact in the reduction of malaria in our
So insecticides, treated bed nets, plus the vaccine, giving Anopheles mosquito a triple punch.
Exactly.
I wish you a beautiful day. Dr. Kezia L. Malm is the program manager for the National Malaria Control Program under the Ghana Health Service. Talk to us about the impact of this historic malaria vaccine, which will be rolled out pretty soon. WHO says green light, and Ghana, in addition to Kenya and Malawi, were responsible for those initial trials which have been proved successful and hopefully will give malaria a knockout punch. I hope your day has started with a punch. Mine certainly has, and I'm glad to have my guests in I was going to say ring, but they're not boxers. On the panel, Anthony Nukpanu is Greater Accra Regional Organizer of the National Democratic Congress. And Awal Mohammed is a member of the New Patriotic Party's communication team. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Good to have you both here. I just want to hear your comments on this news about the malaria vaccine. I'll start with you, Anthony. How significant is this, and the fact that Ghana is also involved in this?
Thank you very much, and to your cherished viewers and yourself. I think it's refreshing. This comes at a time where malaria is taking a lot of lives, especially young children. I'm just worried about here that it's only for children below 5 years. If it has been extended to at least 12 years, I think it will go a long way to adult. When we come into contact with malaria, I remember about 4 months ago, I didn't have it easy at all as an adult. So I will commend the program's implementers for bringing this on board, and I believe it will go a long way to help us as a country.
Wow.
Yes, I think that this is just a refreshing news, especially as a father, and the ailment in my house has been malaria, myself included. So when I saw the story, I was very, very happy. Against the background that if you check in Africa, according to World Health Organization, 260,000 children die before the age of 5 as a result of malaria. So this is a good news for Africa, this is good news for Ghana, and we hope that, as he said, they should extend it to like 10 years, but this one should be effective first. Let's see how effective this one is, so that even if they have malaria, if they have mosquito bites, they will not still have malaria, so that we are able to see the efficacy of it. Then we ask them to extend it to 12 years.
Okay, the researchers have a lot of work to do. We want more. Full story is in today's graphic. Rollout of historic malaria vaccine for children begins, page 5. Got a copy. What are your thoughts? When was the last time you had malaria? I'm just curious. Okay, 055-556-1034 is the WhatsApp number for you to call us on. Let's jump into the papers. Let me start from Parliament. Debate on LGBTQI+. So the graphic is talking about the fact that Parliament has had its agenda set. There are two groups who are for and against this particular bill, the full name of which is such a huge mouthful. Promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill. So Parliament is set to resume sitting on the 26th of this month, and so there are two groups for and against. One of them is the anti-gay rights bill people. The most prominent spokesperson for this is Sam Ncaa George, MP for Pampram, and then recently we've had the lawyer Akoto Ampao on the other side, looking at what he believes it will be an infringement on human rights. I do not think this is an NPP-NDC thing, because there's one MP, Osofo, Deputy Minister, who is in that the side of the people who want this bill to pass. How do you see this playing out in Parliament?
Well, thank you. I think where the point we are now is about morality and legal issues. Those opposing it are coming on the back of law, legalities. Those in support of the bill are coming on the grounds of morality, values, family, and other issues. So this is the two areas that we are looking at this whole thing, and I go for morality, I go for family values, I go for our culture, our dignity as Africans, and I believe the lawyers, the academians should rethink and look at their posturing and their stance, because if what they want to put across stance, then meaning every other social vices, every other thing that we see is criminal to or is inimical to the growth of the Ghanaian will have to come to stay. Armed robbery must come to stay. Prostitution must be given.
Are you not overstretching this argument?
It is not about
why are you bringing armed robbers and Ashawo into?
If you say rights, if you are talking about rights of people, then everything that the human race does is his or her right. So you must put a thumbs up to it, and we live as a nation of no head, no abdomen, no tail. Everybody does what he likes. So I come here and now I can bring cutlass and slash you, and no law can do anything against it.
Is that what you are equating this? Those who are against this?
When proponents of legality speaks, you hardly find wisdom and common sense. You hardly find wisdom and common sense, because you can't go and just read 1940, or I think 12 laws in colonial areas, and then you see, say because of that, the rights and protection of whatever, we should allow things to just fester. So for me, I am not I'm not so religious, even though I was baptized as a Christian. I'm not so religious.
What are you now?
I'm an African. I believe in the African dignity, the African values, which encompasses Christianity, Islam, everything. So,
gay rights is not part of African values?
I've never heard. It came as a result of Western culture. And for me, I don't see why the white man is against me marrying more than a wife and telling me that I should be interested in admitting a colleague man as something that is good for my as a right. Or I should go and propose to my mother to have an affair with my mother. I should start sleeping with my sisters. I should start sleeping with animals. I don't get it. Where is the common sense? Where is the logic?
Let's get back to the bill. What is your response to those who say if this bill should pass, it will endanger the lives of people who have
it is not going to endanger anybody. It's not going to. They are just speaking out of certain emotions on the back of law that allow them, because if you put a law, then there's an impediment, and Anthony can accost somebody practicing gay and harm him or her. No. There is a law. Today, if I come in contact with an armed robber, I have no right to take the life of an armed robber unless my life is at risk. If I'm able to arrest the perpetrator, the thief or whoever, I need to hand him or her over to the police so that the right laws are used in prosecuting the person. Same way, if there's a law putting a law against the practice of immorality, things of lesbianism, gays, bisexual and whatever, if people are in that activity, it frowns against the Constitution, it's criminal. All we need to do is to bring them before the right state office for the right things to be done. It is not my duty to go and then harm somebody, take the person's life, do anything untoward towards the person. So I believe these academians and lawyers should go and rethink and come back again.
Well, let me bring in a while. So there's a group that is opposing this bill. So they are made up of academics, lawyers, researchers, civil society organizations, human rights activists. They say it's a flagrant violation of the 1992 Constitution. Why? Because it will be curtailing freedom of expression and the media, right to assemble, right to join any association of one's choice. Basically, they're saying that if it's passed into law, it will erode fundamental human rights. So they've submitted a 30-page memorandum to Parliament describing what they believe as the unconstitutionality of this particular bill. Is it really an attack on African values? Is that how you also see it?
It's interesting.
You think that it's also unconstitutional?
It's interesting that the person saying it's unconstitutional, one of the proponents of this, has done a survey just recently that 97% of Ghanaians are anti-LGBTQ. That is CDD Ghana. And Professor H. Prempe is part of the signatories of this. So if you have 7% of Ghanaians that are unconcerned, because they never said that the 7% are saying they are for the rights. They said 3% are saying they are for the rights. 97% of Ghanaians, we are 30.8 million according to Statistical Service. Out of the 30.8, 97% is saying this is not a proper cultural value of Ghana. We don't need it. So if you have 3% calling for a right, that is why my brother has said that some people can even call for legalization of prostitution, because if you check, it's minute school of our population that is engaged in that. So let's leave them to do it. You see, one thing that I love about this bill is that it is even going to curtail its advocacy. I have always said this, and you are a public relations person, and you know that what they're doing is not really about the rights that they want. I have been saying this over the time. They only want to do recruitment. I'm telling you this because, you see, the more you advocate it, the more you get people to know and read about it and know people who are into it, because you know, they're dying.
So who are the people doing the recruitment?
The people who are doing this LGBTQ. When they do a lot of advocacy, because you know a lot of them are dying, according to Ghana AIDS Commission. But according to Ghana AIDS Commission, 18% of the adults that are infected with HIV/AIDS are those doing gay. Just recently, just about a week ago, that Ghana AIDS Commission brought these statistics. And they are dying because they will run into extinction if they don't have people to join. Because they don't give birth. So if they don't give birth, what will happen? They will run into extinction. So they will advocate for it so that people will see them. Vulnerable youth who are not unemployed can, because some of us will sit on radio and say they are a network of people, they have a lot of resources and so on. The person will just say that, let me just contact them, since this is just something small that I can do to even get money and so on. So they are doing it for recruitment drive and not necessarily to have the rights. This is something that is done in the room. Why will Anthony Nukwenu meet someone and say you are gay? He will only have to find him doing it. So something that is done in the room, what kind of right do you want? Even proper sex with a man and a woman is not done public. So what kind of right do you want? They only want the right to talk about it, to get a lot of people in it. Again, if you check other African countries that have banned the advocacy, you don't hear about it again. In Nigeria, if a journalist talk about it on radio, he will be arrested and even jailed. You don't even talk about that on radio.
Would you want that to happen in Ghana?
Yes, because 97% of Ghanaians are saying we don't even want it. We don't even want to even associate with it. 3% are non-challenged. They are not saying that whether we like it or not. They are just unconcerned.
So if I discuss a story like this, you want them to jail me?
Not you discussing it.
Yes, why will you even discuss it? Why will you even discuss it? No, you don't even bring it for the up for discussion.
It's not allowed.
Yes, it's not allowed for you to even for you to even bring it up for discussion, for people to even hear about it. Because children are watching. So if a child by a 5-year-old is watching right now and hears homosexuality, a 12-year-old will go online and be searching and be looking at what that means. You even make him curious to even check what happens. And so if you're not careful, you even go and check videos of how it happens. And that is detrimental to our values. So that is why I am glad that this is going on. I'm not surprised that we have these people proposing it, because there are people who feel that they are human rights lawyers, but they have forgotten that if not for birth, they wouldn't be alive today.
Let's hear some of their arguments. They say their advocacy, these are the anti-bill people, they say it's not about whether lesbianism or homosexuality was right or wrong, but they are rather worried about the blatant violations of human rights as contained in the bill. Because this bill, if it is passed, will criminalize the activities of lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgender, queer, and intersex, as well as individuals and organizations that advocate or promote the act in the country.
Yes, that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what a lot of Ghanaians want. Even right now, if you have to just activate the phone lines for 5 minutes, get 5 people to call. I am telling you for a fact that you will get the 5 people saying no.
So you're confident this bill will pass in Parliament?
But the Speaker of Parliament is calling on them to quicken their pace for him to append to activate the debate. And I'm even glad that they are saying that GTV should come and cover the debate, so that you know your MP, what your MP's view is, who will go against it and who will do it. And that is good. Let's have GTV go there and cover. Let's know the debate. Let's know who is for it and who is not for it. So that, because a lot of people are afraid that when they talk about it, for instance, we running commentary about it, they are afraid that they will not even get access to countries and so on. Some of us believe in baby anyhow. We believe in staying here and make Ghana better, rather than going somewhere.
What are your comments on this particular LGBTQI plus bill? Parliament will be very busy from the 26th of October, and just don't think that this is the only issue that will be discussed in Parliament. There are other bills, so there's going to be The Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2021 and the Office of Special Prosecutor Amendment Bill 2021. So these are other things that will be discussed in Parliament. Let's have your feedback. What do you think about what you've heard so far? The rollout of an anti-malaria vaccine and the debate on LGBTQI+. Your comments are here. Okay. So this is Cubans from Kasua. Morning. Honestly, this malady of gay and lesbianism has been given due relevance. The more this thing is talked about, the more prominence it gets.
Yeah.
This is all about, it's more moral than legal. If a man chooses to be stupid, please let him be. But talk about legalizing it, it's a no-no, says Cubans from Kasua. Keep them coming in, 055-556-1034. Still to come on the show, we have conversations on, let's see, issues to do with traditional music. We've got some real estate conversations as well, and national service postings, which is what I want to talk about right now. Over 81,000 people have been employed to go and do their national service to serve Ghana. Deployment was done yesterday. A statement issued by management of National Service Scheme. So there are all kinds of processes that you have to go to verify your identity and to jump on and do your national service. Anthony, is this business of national service, how relevant is it today?
Very relevant. Maybe what we need to be looking at is restructuring.
How?
Well, as a Ghanaian, having access to Ghanaian education, you need to put some service to your nation, where you get some service training and other things. But I don't think over the years we've seen enough reforms as to how the service has been taken into consideration.
What do you want? What's your biggest reform?
You see,
your suggestion for a biggest
I believe it's a platform for you to be able to do something relevant to your nation. That commitment, that dedication to enter the public service, to enter the civil service, to work for the good of Ghana. It's not, I don't see it, because the lackadaisical attitude starts from even service. That is why some people have proposed over the year for it to be like in a form of military training.
Would you want military service as our national service?
Yes, because it instills discipline. It instills some uprightness.
If you're not disciplined from home, is it the military that's going to change you?
We have had indisciplined people from home getting into Shy Hills and they are reformed. They come back as the most disciplined persons to society.
So we should spread it, we should roll it out. For the
yes, I believe every young Ghanaian needs some kind of uprightness. At least the first 6 weeks, that ginger training where you need to wake up at a certain particular time where you think it's awkward. You wake up at 4 and try running towards this studio. That's, people are stuck in traffic. People say, because of traffic, I'm late to work. It's because yourself, you don't value the work you are doing.
So you think that a military company should come in to change the
I believe it will go a long way to help us, because looking at the way our public service and our civil service are tend to, where there's no productivity, but all we do is to be on the neck of government, give us pay rise, give us this, give us that. But you have not asked yourself, how much have you contributed to the growth of the economy? Okay. But you only want to take it.
Okay.
So from the national service stage, we all need to have some committed spirit.
Okay. Ginger.
Entering the Ghanaian economy and providing productivity.
Okay.
But if we leave it and it's, we post, people go, some people don't even go at all. They go and sign to their district directors and they share their allowances with them. Nobody monitors. Because that sharing, the regional director also take a stipend, the national
You have evidence of this?
You've not done national service.
You have evidence?
Sometimes this evidence still, let's put it aside.
Why? Why are you putting your thing
It is the attitude of the Ghanaian.
Make claims. I want you to justify your claims. You put
I don't have paper evidence, but I have the, mental evidence.
Mental evidence.
We are all guilty of these things.
Mental evidence. What is mental evidence?
We are all guilty of it.
Sure.
Because
no. What is mental evidence?
Look. I've done service. There are months you have not gone to work. You have not. But you negotiate with your district director.
You did that.
I didn't do it, but colleagues have done it.
I'm not expecting you to say that you did it.
You see,
did you report your colleagues?
Did I report?
Yeah, as a good citizen.
Somebody said, whom am I?
Then you didn't help the system.
So that is what I'm saying, that if that uprightness is instilled in me, if I'm reporting you, I'm not afraid. But in this country, I'm going to report you. The next thing, you gang up and come and beat me, and even I will lose my life.
So you were afraid to report?
So people are afraid to report.
You, not people, you.
Oh yes, I'm also a part of the community. So I believe that we need to look at a lot, because the population continues to grow. The number of people who come out of the public institutions.
All right.
So reforms must come up, and I think it's still relevant to the country.
All right. National service, 81,000 plus going to work for the nation.
Yeah, I think it's relevant. National service is very, very relevant. My brother wanted to maybe chip in the malfeasance that happened in national service in 2015, but maybe because of
this one, don't bring it here. That is what I'm saying.
Because I remember what he's saying is true. Some directors were caught, 33 directors across the country, if you remember that story. They were caught doing, taking monies from prospective national service personnel.
Has it ended?
Yeah, they were in court, and what has happened?
Wait, is it something that is still happening now?
Yeah, they were sent to court. Yeah. The director was even Alaji Moro also was even removed, and so on. So at that time, I remember it was just almost at that time that my brother was doing his national service. When he goes there, I'm talking about my brother, a brother. When he goes there, you will have to pass through a lot of rigmarole before you even get your money. There will be a BNI officer who will append his signature to find out indeed you have done all these things and so on. So these are excesses of it. But you see, the national service is very valuable. I know a lot of people who says that I have been living in Accra all my life. When I was sent to Bunkurugu to go and do national service, initially I didn't want to go there. But when I went there, I learned a lot of lessons. I learned valuable lessons and so on. As it comes today, you get a lot of people who call you and say, Kafu, I beg you, help me do a reposting to maybe Tema Oil Refinery, because I believe that that's the place that I can get something small or something to cushion myself, or I don't want to go outside Accra and so on. These are things that happens, and it will not give value to the national service that we will want. You get people say, I was trained from UEW as a teacher, so I have been sent to maybe a bank to work there, and I believe that it's a square peg in a round hole. That's not it. You are there to learn something different. Okay. If you are trained as a teacher and you go to a national, I know someone who read French, but he's now the project manager of a bank, because he went there to do national service. They saw how valuable he is, and they were able to employ him.
But you do agree also that we should send people who have been trained for a particular skill into a relevant area. That also has some arguments.
Yes, that is also has its argument. But I believe that when you send a person somewhere, because first degree is preparing you to the world market, even if to the job market, even if it's your area or it's not your area. Okay. I remember in our office at a youth employment agency, there is this boy who read political science at KNUST. He was sent to the technical service directorate that deals with the IT and other things and the recruitment as well. Before they ended the national service, some of us had to walk to the CEO and tell him, employ this gentleman.
He performed.
He performed creditably. I have to even advise him to go and read IT. He's now reading IT in one of the, but he's now a permanent worker at youth.
So people should serve, no matter what.
Just serve, so that at least you are able to learn some lessons from it. One of my valuable lessons in life is when I did my national service at NADMO for 1 year, and those days there were a lot of floods and so on. So we worked on the ground almost on a daily basis.
Then you were NDC boy.
Yes, I was in.
Oh, okay, you crossed the carpet. Okay, interesting. Interesting revelations here. Awal and Anthony on the news headlines right here on GTV Breakfast. Hashtag GTV Breakfast. To follow us. Look, listen, the handles are just scrolling nicely on your screen. Just follow them, okay? If you follow us, we'll follow you back, all right? We've been looking at malaria, vaccine, and also LGBTQ plus bill and national service postings. Have you been posted? You are supposed to be reporting for job 11th of October, which is next Monday. If you've been posted, you should accept and go and start work on the 11th of October. Some names have been held back because of discrepancies detected in online registration details. However, notifications have been sent to you, and everything will be sorted out, and you can work for Mother Ghana for 1 year. Comments coming in on 055-556-1034. Okay, good morning, CAF. This is Fosso. We knew about these people's existence since the creation of the world, and nobody went after them, so they should just keep quiet and indulge in their illegality quietly. But to legalize it in Ghana, it no go happen. Parliament should bend that bill and bury it. Finito, says Solo. Another message coming in here. I'm not arguing. I'm simply explaining why it is right to stop this LGBTQ from Ob of Net 1 Business Center inside Obuasi Central Market. How's it going in the mining city of Ghana? If Parliament tries to stop this law, we shall all troop there. We will sit down and make unnecessary laws for us. It's an affront to our country, says Ncaa Dankwa in Kumasi. Boss, I think that earlier our leaders put a stop to this debate on lesbian and gay issues and focus on the nation's growth, the better. Unnamed, but we'd like to have your names and where you are sending us a message from. It's a little survey for us. We need to know where you're watching us from, okay? Good morning. Thanks to Mr. Awal for such a brilliant submission in clearing the dust thrown out into our eyes by the NDC. You will always doing jobs. Abdul Mumin Wunam from Tamale. Good morning. This devilish issue is not even required to have been discussed on the national GTV network. Ncaa of is it Hresu? It's spelled where and S-O. Is it Hresu? Where? W-H-E-R-E-S-O. Hresu. No, Hresu. Don't try it. We are Okro people. No, Hresu. They say we are. One more. This is coming from Volta region, and he's given us Leviticus 18 verse 22. And we read, he says, you shall not lie with a male as with a woman, it is an abomination. Similarly, in Leviticus 20:13, we read, if a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, they shall be put to death, their blood is upon them. Parliament should go ahead to pass the bill. This, you see, when people start talking like this, it's like a threat to Parliament. The Bible. Yeah, no, the comment which came after was not from the Bible. Okay. All right, more stories for us to read. And just before we go on, I want you to. They say this thing is called Akosia Tuntum and Akosia Koko. I need to know the English names of these guys. All right, or these ladies. Which one is the black? This is the Tuntum. I don't know. So this is what I heard today from Thelma's segment. Akosia Tuntum and Akosia Koko. So we'll get it right. If you can get the name right for this, you get a pizza. You get a pizza, okay? So while I'm chewing the thing, I'll do the next story. In fact, when they are responding, I'll be eating it. Daily graphic. So TOR IMC. TOR stands for Tema Oil Refinery, and IMC stands for Interim Management Committee. They vow to end graft. Look, listen, they've been stealing a lot of products at TOR. Forget about graft. It's stealing. Stealing. A lot of stealing has gone down, and yesterday we were hearing all kinds of things that were going down in TOR, Tema Oil Refinery. Makes a lot of people's hearts beat. And the Mr. Norbert Anku, who is the IMC chairman at Tema Oil Refinery, says until those members of staff who were stealing products were removed and a robust working system put in place, no amount of capital injection would save the refinery from continued deterioration. They have vowed to rid the refinery of corrupt and indisciplined members of staff whose actions have plunged the company into debt. We've been hearing about TOR debt, and for such a long time now. Anthony, what's your thought on this?
Well, I haven't read.
The argument is that politicians should just stay out of these state institutions and let it work.
It's a fact. The kind of board we put in place, the kind of steps we take, we use to appoint the MDs, and the kind of policies we put in that system has made the refinery redundant for all these years. Because if you allow the cartels in the oil industry go have deals with people outside, and all their aim is to bring refined fuel in the name of biodiversity, reduction of these terms they'll be using. You will not let your refinery run because you think the kind of machines you have are not able to give you this 50 ppm fuel that is being used all over. So at the end of the day, you become an import driven and allowing these cartels to run your economy, and your CD is down there. If TOR is running, I think it will go a long way to give us less amount of fuel that we buy, the prices that we pay. Are you getting? Because maybe we will not be rushing for 50 ppm fuel. We may go more than 100. It's also good for our combustive.
What is this ppm thing you've been assaulting us with like
it's
that?
a term they use in the industry. You know, this the Western world today, they are talking about fuel that gives a lot of carbon into the environment, which is gives environmental pollution. So every now and then they do research to get fuel that is so clean.
Okay.
And this comes at a certain cost, and we suffer for it. But we can produce our own, looking at our environment. We have more trees and other things that can absorb these things. If we don't degrade our environment and we are even using more than 100 or 200 ppm fuel, we can still live in a very environmental free country.
How do you stop people from stealing at all?
Stopping people from stealing our put the right management, people with the right framework of the Ghanaian attitude.
So the management that now is the wrong management?
TOR has been rotting for years now. Because one, board members that are put partisan boards, what policies are there? So TOR has turned to a tank farm. People dress and go to where they don't do any work. Their salary, as and when it comes, no increment. So what you've breed an environment where people think this material should be stolen. This interim management, their report is even, I find problem with it because they were constituted somewhere in June. And in their report, all the theft happened in September. So you were at post, and this theft still continues to happen. So what promise are you giving to me?
Let me go to Awal. Solutions. We're tired of hearing about TOR and problems. If it's not a debt, then it's theft.
I think this is the best solution that we have seen so far, if you check, because I remember it was agitation by the staff that the MD, Francis Burton, and his deputy at all should be removed. So in June they were removed. The minister wrote a letter and they said on behalf of the president he has sacked them. Then he formed the interim management committee that will do an audit of the entire workings, the staff and their liabilities and so on. And the interim management committee within few months has been able to at least bring in a report.
Right.
What I'm particularly glad is that this is a committee that, after uncovering it, decided to show to Ghanaians what they have uncovered. If you check, it is not everything that happened in September. The disappearance of some crude happened between 2013 and 2015.
Well, you like those years? Those are NDC years.
No, if you
right?
if you read the report,
they just got that. They should provide that report. They will challenge
those are NDC years, right?
That report.
The year according to NDC.
They have a slot in that. Just think that
it was a slot. Eh?
It's a slot because you are at post since June. A theft has happened under you, and you want to bring something from 2012 to 2015.
You don't like the slot.
Then the narrative.
You don't like
buy into.
You don't like the slot.
They should provide that report that they are talking about. And they cannot produce it.
You don't like the slot.
No, these people are just diversionary.
Which people?
These MB people always want to divert attention when they are caught red-handed.
Are you politicizing the issue unnecessarily?
I am not.
Just going to 2015. Everybody knows our political calendar. They know that is when Mr. Mahama was in power.
When you check, they brought 4 sets of revelations. In the 4 sets of revelations, 1 out of the 4 is that it happened between 2013 and 2015.
Okay.
But when he said that they were constituted in January, but in June, but they were only able to uncover everything. I only sought to set the record straight.
All right, the records have been set straight. Thank you very much. Awal Mohammed is a member of the new Patriotic Party's communication team. Anthony Nukpanu is the Greater Accra regional organizer of the National Democratic Congress. Gentlemen, I thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. So, in case you don't know, the crash barriers at Epokrasi have been interchanged. Those brigands, robbers, and thieves who were destroying crash barriers, the authorities are going to replace them. It's a story on the front page of today's graphic. The ministry has rolled out a campaign against illegal fishing. There's a picture there of Mrs. Hawa Kumson, Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development. Halt development on Pantang Hospital land, Deputy Minister directs. A couple of headlines in the BFT. Cocoa farmers to get $400. Are the cocoa farmers chopping dollar these days? 400 times 6 is what? 2,400. So 2,400 cedis, living income differential from Cocoa Board. Tourism Ministry partners Spain for skills development. Business confidence declines over economic challenges. And in today's Times, 3 die, others injured. Explosion at Joburg oil mills. Our sincere condolences to the family of those who lost their lives. Today is actually 4 years to the date that the explosions happened at Atomic. So a grim reminder of what happened 4 years ago. Christian bodies present memorandum in support of LGBTQ plus bill to Parliament. Ghana and Spain are creating 1 million tourism jobs in 3 years. And there's a tribunal for safeguarding the rights of mentally ill, which is in the offing. Those are our headlines. The Brig Gardens to be redeveloped, another one there. And so the question is, before I go to Valerie, what is the name of this thing? They say it's Akosia what? Is it Akosia Bruni or something? Or is it Cocoa, Akosia Cocoa? Not bad. So I want the English name. And then I want the English name for this one as well. It's Akosia Tuntun.
I know the English name of that one.
It tastes like yam for some strange reason. I don't know why. But I'm going to go to Valerie, who has something tastier to talk about. Hopefully. Valerie, over to you.
Yes, thanks. Well, after yesterday's rains, we've had pockets of flooding here and there. We're going to we're connecting with Alan. Alan is at Abofu to give us what's happening with a drain that has supposedly not been working and faulty. Alan, you're live. What's happening behind you?
Hi. Once again, welcome Valerie, and welcome to viewers from all over the country. We're currently in Abofu, a suburb of Accra near Achimota in the Okankwe North Municipality. The rain came in yesterday, and maybe reference to swimming pools in the middle of a highway. This would have to be a let's go fishing right in town. Why? Because we're by the Odo River, where its source runs through the villages from Kisema and then through Abofu, parts of Aveno Circle, and then it hits the main Kole Lagoon and then into the sea. Unfortunately, we're keeping an eye on the drain that's supposed to carry the water from the Kiseman area through Abofu, and also to protect the communities who live along the banks or the route of the water as it goes from these communities towards the sea down south. These drains were constructed in the days of ex-president J.A. Kufuor, and were told by people who live along the banks that 3 years after construction they noticed cracks, and this they reported to the authorities, and they sent a few engineers over time to keep an eye on them, to at least propose a certain solution to protect them. Unfortunately, these many visits have yielded no result. Unfortunately, even worse is the impact on the communities when it rains. And yesterday's heavy downpour, as you can see from the shots behind me, yesterday's heavy downpour brought in its wake another sorry state of affairs. If my ground camera will pan towards my left, you will see the graphic situation of the effect of the water. The drain is completely washed away, and it's supposed to be a supersized drain. It has been washed away. Not only is the drain washed away, but properties along the banks of the drain have also been broken down and washed away. We were speaking to some of the neighbors not too long ago, and they explained that it started slowly, and so they hoped against all things that perhaps a certain help will come. But then whenever the rains have come, you'll have NADMO come around and try a certain intervention to perhaps assure them of something being done, but nothing gets done after that. We have become the proverbial vulture who claims to build their house after the rains, and when the rains come are gone, they go back to sleep. This is, if you can see, or the shots in my grounds camera, you see a blue building and a few of them along the banks which have all been washed down. But the more graphic detail would come from the eye in the sky. If you have the benefit of that at the moment, then what you can see also is exactly what the grounds camera is bringing to your shot. You have these buildings all washed into the water, and they have all been carried away. In fact, parts of the drain itself has been washed into the water, and if you go further downstream, you will find some of the concrete works that were used for the drain down south or further down ashore. The rains that came yesterday also brought on board, or brought with it, some rubbish, and you find a lot of recyclable material lying on the other side of the drain. Unfortunately for those who live on that side of the drain, they took a hit from the waters yesterday, and the sad situation is that they would tell you this is what happens anytime there is a heavy downpour. They refused to speak to camera because they told us, myself and my team, that they have had many countless visits after the rain from NADMO, from the AMA, from every other authority you can name under the sun that's allowed by Ghana's constitution. Nothing ever gets done, and this time round they have refused even to speak to any cameras, and their cry is, if government chooses to come to their aid, fair enough, but if not, they'll be here, and one day if they get washed away, they'll be glad to be captured by cameras, in fact behind their backs, and not as it is today. This is the situation if you live along the banks of the Odo River and you're somewhere in Bofu. If you're fortunate to live around here, maybe you will have to look for a canoe, because one day you may need it. One day you may have to come upstream in your canoe, not on foot, because they tell us the waters really get heavy and come really fast, so much so that there will be no way to survive it if you don't have a canoe.
Alan,
this has been Keep an Eye, coming to you live from Abofu, a suburb of Accra, in the Ablekuma North Municipal Assembly. Hi.
Right, Alan, don't sign off just yet. We can see from behind you, we can see some shanty, I don't know what to call them, homes, or, you know, kiosks. Why do they keep building or bringing such structures close to the drains and the waterways? Have you asked them why? Okay,
Quite interesting you ask that, Valerie. We spoke to a few young men who live in these kiosks, and they explain that they are migrants who have come in from all over Ghana in order to look for work and all other trade in Accra. And you know the cost of getting a decent accommodation in Accra. And so for them, this provides a certain temporary abode. And one day when things work out for them, they will leave this waterline and find a better place to live. But until such a time when they're okay, this will have to be their abode. Through no fault of theirs, but that is life.
Thank you, Alan, for that report. That was my colleague Alan, who came to us from the Odona area, and from the team on the ground we could see those very disturbing images, what happened yesterday after the rains. And if authorities that be are listening, please do something about it to avert a possible looming danger. You're still live on GTV. The hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast. Still to come, we'll have a conversation around real estating, all you should know. We'll have a conversation too around on traditional music in Ghana and how it has evolved. You're still watching GTV Real Life. We'll take a quick break.
1 to 2021, the journey to our centenary has been. amazingly worthy. Azar Group is...
Galam Sinti, yes yo aseo. Galam Sinti and forest aseo. Galam Sinti in for ewu. Say a bunch of wow bedem. Yenjai, galam say. Yenjai, galam say. Yenjai, galam say Ghana. Yeah, my Ghana, yes, a man in seo. Yeah, my Ghana, yes, a man in seo. Yeah, my Ghana, yes, a man in seo. Galam say master. Galam say master. Galam say master. Galam say master. Galam say master.
Live from GBC Studio One, this is the Breakfast Show.
I need to know the English name. It tastes like yam for some strange reason. I don't know why, man. It's tasting like yam. But this one it's kind of tangy, you know. I need the names of these things. We're going to give you some pizzas. Cheesy Pizza is promoting this. It's promoting the correct responses. You're going to have some good pizzas from us. So let us know what these things are called. Okay, they're really nice. Let me know what they are called, and we'll give you some pizzas. Yeah. WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034. Show brought to you by Weight Purified Drinking Water. You buy one of these, and 1 peso of this goes to the National Cardiothoracic Center to take care of people with heart issues. Yeah. It's also brought to you by Shield Acrylic Paint. Adonco Next Level Energy Drink. We've also got My Bed Africa. Remember the GTV special code for you to win all kinds of things. You get 100% money back from your first lost bet. And as well as Stallion Outlook, who are premium kaftan tailors. Let's talk real estate right now, because there's a conference that is happening starting 11th of October, ending 16th October. It's all about real estate issues. And to help us dive into that conference, I have with me the CEO of Abri Consult and founder of the Ghana Real Estate Professionals Association, Vicky Sampa. Vicky, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Nice. And all the way from Chicago, the windy city, but hanging in Ghana right now, is a member of the National Association of Realtors. He's a professional, he's an instructor, he's a leader. His name is Maurice Hampton. Maurice, good to see you, man.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So, we'll dive into the conference in a short while, but let's talk a bit about real estate in Ghana, Vicky, and the fact that sometimes it feels like a jungle. There's almost no regulation. That's how it feels when you're looking for a house, or buying a house, leasing a house, renting a house. What are your thoughts right now on the state of regulation in Ghana as far as real estate is concerned?
Well, personally, I feel that Ghana is growing very fast. And we run ahead of our formalization of the industry. There's been a bill that has been gone through a lot of stages. It's gone through about 10-15 years of reviews, and finally was passed last year. Mm-hmm. The market is, just as you said, like a jungle, because the industry is not formalized. Mm-hmm. And looking back from the US, which I also practice, and comparing that to what we have in Ghana, it looks like there's a lot of work for us to do. Passing the bill is one thing. Implementing what is supposed to be in the industry is also another thing. Mm-hmm. We have rentals, we have sales, we have development going on, we have attorneys. The industry is a huge one. And if we are able to put things in the right places, Ghana is going to make a lot of money, and it's going to really help the economy very well. Because looking at the US, they're making a lot of money. The economy is growing. The real estate sector contributes a lot to economic development. So what I'll say to what you asked me was, if we are able to formalize our industry, we should be okay.
Maurice, so Vicky talked about the state. That's your base of operations. What's it like there? I mean, in terms of from there and then comparing to what's happening here, what can we learn immediately to make our things work a bit more in a structured way?
Absolutely. You know, every market needs formalized real estate and trusted partners, especially when you're dealing with individuals' hard-earned incomes and their families' monies. We're talking about generational wealth here. And so we can't leave it to chance. You need professionals that can guide you appropriately, ensure you're making the right decisions, the best decisions, and capitalizing on your investments. In the United States, not everyone uses a realtor, but most smart people use a realtor in their transactions. We're not an expense to our consumers or our clients. We're value add. So my job is help you save money, help you to identify ways of increasing the value of that property. I'm also a negotiation expert, as are most realtors, and we want to make sure that we're negotiating on the best half of the client. Doing our research so that properties are not overvalued. When we overvalue properties and we let the market run amok, it tends to lend chaos in the futures of our market. In the United States, we found that real estate is really the cornerstone of our economy. A healthy real estate market brings about a healthy economy where everybody is able to thrive. A false real estate market, as we also saw in the 2008 recession, can wreak massive havoc, draining families' wealth. And the family's wealth that is drained is not the top wealth. It's generally those families that work very, very hard for their dollar on a regular basis.
Okay. Thanks for that, Vicky. I just want to come back to you now. Talk to anybody watching right now why it's important to speak to a real estate professional or a realtor if you want to lease, you want to buy, you want to sell. What's the number one argument for using a professional as opposed to just doing it yourself?
Well, that's an interesting question. Every industry have their own professionals, and these professionals have gone through schooling, they have gone through experience, and they understand the steps that they have to go through to protect the consumer. Doing it yourself can be a lot of work. At the same time, can be dangerous. So if you use the professional is also able to get a team of professionals to help you. So in real estate, you don't just use a realtor. You have to also engage an attorney. You need a valuer. You need an inspector maybe in Ghana. I'm not sure. But yes, these are a team of professionals that help you. And it's only the real estate professional that can guide you through this process. And because of their experience, they will also be able to negotiate on your behalf. Sometimes people feel they will be able to do it themselves, but it's not always the case. We know all the loopholes, we know all the stages and the way we negotiate for you to get the best out of your money.
Okay, we're going to dive into the conference right now, and I'll just, after speaking to you on that, I'll get Maurice to tell us what his input to the conference is going to be like. So this conference is happening on the 11th of October.
On the 11th.
Yes.
We're having a pre-conference event, which is the training that we're currently having. It's a CIPS, Certified International Property Specialist training, which Maurice is teaching. That started Monday, the 4th, and it ends on Friday.
Okay.
And then after that, we kick off the conference on the 11th.
Which is the Africa Real Estate Conference and Expo 2021, happening where, and I know your theme is opportunity to innovate and optimize.
Yes.
Tell us where it's happening and why this theme.
So the conference is happening at the Moving Pick Hotel in Accra, again from the 11th to the 16th. And the theme you just mentioned is opportunity to optimize and innovate. What we're doing is we're trying to optimize advanced systems, technology, international best practice, and networking, which is very important when it comes to real estate these days. We just don't have to do real estate locally. We're looking at doing real estate globally. It's no more local. We have to go out. There are people out there looking to buy property in Ghana, and there are also people in Ghana also looking to buy property outside Ghana.
Okay.
We want to bring the global wealth to Ghana so that we all practice real estate and optimize it.
Okay. Maurice, give us a sense of what you'll be teaching and who should come to your class.
So I'm going to be teaching two courses. One course on why formalize real estate in this market. The next course is building generational wealth through your real estate career and for your clients. It is a goal of mine to help my clients and to help everybody that engages in real estate build that wealth that I have seen so many high net worth individuals around the world gain strictly through real estate. And when we look at global real estate, Ghana is an epicenter of boom for the future. We have diaspora programs going on right now in which we're trying to bring back people from America. We are looking for more investments in our marketplace here, and formalization of real estate, working with professionals, is the only way to get there.
Okay. And
oh, I'm also teaching the Certified International Property Specialist designation.
Okay. So that's what the whisper was all about. Yeah, let's go, man. Let's hear it.
The Certified International Property Specialist designation is an elite group of Realtor practitioners around the world. We make up 4,400 individuals in 138 different countries.
Okay.
We share best practices, we share leads, we share financing, we share the whole 9 yards, so that we can, again, protect our different markets and the individuals that live there. And I'm very excited to pass the very first class, Certified International Property Specialist Designation class here on Friday with the first set of Ghanaian students here in Ghana ever. And we're going to bring it back.
Please bring it back.
And in Africa too. This is the first time the certification program is happening in Africa.
In Africa, not just Ghana.
Yes.
What's it feel like to be a founder of an organization like this, the Ghana Real Estate Professionals Association?
Oh, it's an awesome situation for me right now. It was a lot of work for me from the beginning. So many challenges here and there. Being heard was a problem, but right now I see the energy. Maurice's class is made up of a group of energetic real estate professionals who really appreciate him coming all the way 3,000 miles away from home. Thank you, Maurice. And they're very happy to get the class. They're learning a lot from him. So it makes me very satisfied and fulfilled.
And fulfilled. Maurice, your parting words.
My parting words is, do not buy wooden nickels from strangers. Don't buy wooden nickels at all, but especially from a stranger.
Yes, indeed. And Vicky, what should professionals look forward to for this conference? Briefly.
A lot of resources, networking, education, so many speakers from all over the world.
Awesome.
So we're expecting people to come register, attend this conference and learn a lot, sell a lot, and let us know who you are.
Vicky Sarpa is CEO of the Ghana Real Estate Professionals Association, who initiated the Africa Real Estate Conferences and Expo, ARC conferences, to be held every 2 years in a designated country in Africa, and we did the first one.
Yes.
Proud to be Ghanaian. Thank you very much, Vicky. Thank you very much, Maurice. Real estate professionals, mark that date. Is it too late to register?
It is not late.
It's not too late. Better late than never. So 11th to 16th of October 2021. If they want to just register, what do they do? Where do they go? I see events at ARC Conference, arceconference.com. So use that email address, or you can call 057-000-0903. 057-000-0903. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
And I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
I may just fly through and see what's going on.
Definitely. You're welcome to do that.
All right, Vicky, Maurice, thank you so much. And thank you for watching GTV Breakfast. Are you still wondering what this thing is called? Let me know. There's a conversation coming up pretty soon on national service postings. And Thelma will sit down with the corporate affairs manager of the National Service Secretariat to look at the postings. Over 81,000 people are going to be posted from Gambaga to Accra, from Wiosu to Keta, all around the country, 16 regions going to serve Ghana. That's coming up in a short while. And there's a conversation on traditional music with Valerie. But before that, I'm going back to what is happening in town. And it's either Jay or Alan who are sitting out there waiting to produce a report. Is it Jay or is it Alan? It's a car horn.
Thank you so much, Kafu. It is Jay. It is me, Jay Cabra. So good morning, everyone, once again, and welcome to Keep an Eye. And this time we are the National Identification Authority. In a bid to reduce the prevalence of fraudulent digital activities, the Ncaa issued a directive that said everyone must re-register their SIM card with their Ghana card. Owing to that, this action is part of a plan to strengthen Ghana's digital economy by creating unique IDs and sorting them in the country's database. Owing to that directive, this directive made sure the SIM card registration started last Friday. Owing to that, there was a lot of people who searched the premises of the headquarters of the NIA this past week. Indeed, when the research team passed by on Tuesday and yesterday, we happened to see teeming numbers of people here who were trying to get their Ghana card done, including those who had already registered but weren't able to get their card. This morning, we've been privileged to speak to the head of corporate affairs, Mr. Abdul Ganiu. He is the head of corporate affairs here at the NIA, and he will brief us, and anybody who is still a little confused about the whole process that has happened, he's here to shed more light on it for us. Good morning, Mr. Ganiu. You're welcome.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for speaking with us. So first of all, I'd just like to ask what you make of the NCA's directive for everyone to register their SIM with their Ghana card.
Yes, of course. That's what it should be in terms of the needed policy directive. If you look at the mandatory uses of the Ghana card, one of them is to be able to use a national identification card for the purpose of SIM card registration. But in the past, because we didn't have a national ID in place, there were a plethora of identity cards that were used for that particular purpose. Now that we have successfully built a comprehensive national identification database, there will surely be the need for us to go through this process. Then all of us are assured that everyone using the same card in this country can be properly identified, can be properly traced, so that all the benefits that we aspire in terms of economic development, in terms of doing away with fraud and whatnot, are things that we can begin to realize as a nation.
Okay. Thank you very much. You know, a few days ago, a global service such as Facebook, WhatsApp, and all that went down. So now that we are gathering all the information and putting it on one card, for instance, our passport, our voters' ID, and all that, how secure is the country's database? Do we have safeguards in place so that to ensure that the fraudsters are also growing with the digital time? So how shall we that they can't delve into that or hack into it and such like that?
Yes, we have one of the best national identification systems that you can find anywhere in the world. Apart from the National Identification Authority itself, the partner in the PPP arrangement, for instance, is about the best that you can find on the African continent. I'm talking about the Margins Group with their subsidiaries, the identity management systems. And if you also look at all the vendors that have been brought together who have been responsible for building the subcomponents of the national identification system, talk about data card, talk about crypto vision and whatnot, they are about the best that you can find in this space. And the system is robust. We have proven technology that assures all Ghanaians that the database is secured. And at the end of the day, we'll continue to improve in terms of technology to be able to stay ahead of fraudsters and, for that matter, to be abreast with existing technology at all times.
So at this point, I would like to ask, how does one go about getting the card? Because with the teaming crowds, you notice over the course of the week, does the card still come at a fee, or for those who come here, there's a price attached to it?
Yes, this is a premium registration center. So when you walk in, you are supposed to pay 250 Ghana cedis if you want to be registered here. Okay. But we also have other registration centers that if you go to any of those centers, you go through the process without paying any money. So
are those centers open at the moment?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have 34 registration centers that are located in 34 offices of the Ghana Revenue Authority across the country. And if you go to any of these places, you'll be able to register your Ghana card for free. Okay. Going forward, by end of October, we should also open regional and district offices. And once you go there to do registration there would also be free. So these are the services that we are providing. So as long as it's the first time registration for a Ghanaian, it is free. It is only when you go to a premium center that you pay the 250 Ghana cedis.
Yeah, so we don't have that much time, so I'll give you a chance to tell Ghanaians why they should try as much as possible, despite the re-registration of the SIM card, why they should try and get their Ghana card.
Yes, we are at the point where if you look at the mandatory uses of the Ghana card per the National Identification Register 2012, there are 14 mandatory uses aside other uses that you can put the Ghana card to. What that means is that we are gradually getting to a point where if you don't have a Ghana card, it will be really very difficult for you to seek any type of transaction in this country. So there's the need for everyone to have his or her Ghana card. People must take advantage of the 34 registration centers that we currently have to be able to go and do so for free. And people in the regions and districts, by end of October, when the regional and the district offices are also opened, they can also take advantage and go get their Ghana cards.
Thank you so much.
And Thelma is also legit, because she's legitimately going to be speaking with Mr. Armstrong Esa. Who is he? Well, if you're a national service person, you should know this name. He's the head of corporate affairs for the National Service Secretariat, and 81,000 plus of you are going to be posted all around the country, okay, to serve the nation. What are your questions about national service postings for this year? 11th October is reporting date for duty. What are your questions? You get them all answered right here. Send them ahead right now on WhatsApp 055-556-1034. And that conversation continues after this.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is The Breakfast Show.
Having breakfast on GTV, some disturbing news coming to us from Ncaa, so that's around the Tema area. We are hearing that there's an armed robbery going on right now. Our Tema regional correspondent, one of them, Michael Dewonu, is standing by. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Thelma.
Are these reports true? What's happening?
Yeah, so I don't know whether to describe these guys as armed robbers or kidnappers, because the situation has to do with that they kidnapped some 2 children from Tema Community 22 and were going away with this kids, and some community members saw them and gave them a chase, and so they ran to their hideout in the Ncaa area, and when they got there, they started firing, and so it was difficult for these armless community members who were giving them a chase to further pursue them. So they called in the police, and so when the police arrived, the police then was having an exchange of gunfire with them. So that is the situation that I can report. So that is the situation. It's not a robbery, and so like I said, I don't know whether to describe them as armed robbers or
so maybe an attempted kidnapping case then?
Exactly so, because they kidnapped these 2 children and they are trying to make away with them.
Where are the children, Michael?
They are with the kidnappers as I talk to you.
So now, are they in the grips of the police, these attempted kidnappers? Have the police caught them now?
What's happening is that there's an exchange of fire between them and the police.
And how did that end?
Yes.
How did that end?
Yes, so the police are trying to make sure that they get to them and retrieve the children from these kidnappers.
Michael, let me be sure I'm getting you correctly. You're saying that as we speak, the police is engaged in some kind of shootout with some attempted kidnappers who have 2 children in their keeping.
Exactly so, Thelma.
Is this drawing a crowd, Michael? Because I'm concerned about bullets flying around and people gathering to observe what is happening.
Yeah. So people are worried and are coming out in their numbers to see what is really happening, and it's causing a lot of fear and pandemonium in the area right now.
Michael, is reinforcement on its way? I presume that once the police is there, then they have an idea that something like this is happening. But when it comes to crowd control and keeping everybody at an arm's length, is that happening? And is even the crime scene being preserved where the supposed kidnappers are hiding?
Yeah, so currently, because of the fluid nature of the situation, I'm unable to speak to the officers, but I'm certainly sure that now that we are also putting it out there, there will be a maximum reinforcement. But we would continue to be with the situation and continue to give the necessary updates as and when they come in, Thomas.
Right, Michael. Send us pictures, live pictures, if you can, and we'll link up with you in a few more minutes to get further details on this rather disturbing development. But do keep safe, you and the team. All of you keep safe. Michael Duono is our Tema regional correspondent. He's been speaking to us from Denu Atadika, where he's reporting that there is an attempted kidnapping of 2 children, and the alleged kidnappers have run to hide in a certain building, and residents tried to catch them, as we say in Ghana, to arrest them, but they are now engaged in some kind of shootout with the police, and that impasse is still ongoing. So we will be keeping an eye on that development, and we'll let you know what further details emerge from that developing story. So happening now in Atadeka, an alleged kidnapping attempt gone bad. Let's focus on issues of national service now, and the delays that led to anxieties by persons who would have been expected to have started their national service much earlier, maybe a couple of months earlier, appears to be getting ready to be allayed, and the fears that the service year may not even happen, as some have speculated, have not materialized, because last night we got information that the National Service Secretariat has released the 2021-2022 postings. So a portal has been opened, and the NSS has invited prospective national service personnel to log on to the portal and check their details, enter their details, and then find out where they have been posted. And so the scheme, as currently constituted, provides newly qualified graduates the opportunity to have practical exposure to on-the-job experience both in public and private sectors as part of their civic responsibility to the state, and the state pays them a monthly stipend for their efforts. And this morning we have the Public Relations Officer of the scheme, Mr. Armstrong Esa, at the table to tell us what the next steps would be for the next few days. Mr. Esa, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Now,
thank you. Yes.
In years past, the postings would have been done sometime around August. But this year, because of COVID and because of the effect on the schools' calendars, the posting was delayed. Is everything now, or are all the bottlenecks now out of the way for a smooth start of the national service year?
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, let me say good morning to our new executive director. You know, National Service has a new executive director, Honorable Osei Sibe Ncaa. And also use your platform to say a big thank you to the president of the land for appointing a man with amazing, diverse professional backgrounds, coupled with extensive managerial experience to steer the affairs of the National Service Scheme. The president couldn't have made a better appointment. We are grateful to him. Just like you rightly said, going back into history, service should have started around 1st September. That is the normal calendar. But you would appreciate that today we all live in a new world order. We all live in a new system curated by COVID, and the universities were not spared. And so you notice that huge structural changes happened to the various academic calendars. And so at the time National Service Scheme was ready to deploy the final year student as prospective service personnel, they were still writing their final examinations. And so as a human institution, it would not have been appropriate for us to release their postings while they were still writing their final examinations. And so that is why it got a bit delayed. But we've released it yesterday. The executive director issued a statement to deploy over 81,000 Ghanaian youth who have duly qualified from accredited tertiary institutions, and they are supposed to start their service. And so what is going to happen now is, just like you said, you are so conversant with the process. You did part of my work for me. Thank you. And so they're supposed to, first of all, log on to their dashboard on nss.gov.gh, download their letters of appointment. Once their letters are downloaded and they are printed, the letters are supposed to be taken to the user agencies. For instance, if GTV made official requests to National Service Scheme, then it means that we have supplied what you asked for, and so the user agencies will have to bring their letters here to be endorsed by either the HR or the head of the organization. And so once it is endorsed, then it means that the service personnel can commence service on Monday, October 11, whilst he undergoes the validation process. These are two important issues that must be noted. You make sure that the user agencies endorse your appointment letters, and then immediately after you start the validation process. This is so key to the payment of your allowances at the end of the month.
And is that enough time? Because we're looking at 11th, which is on Monday. It's Thursday. The portal was opened on Wednesday.
Sure.
Is it enough time? Because it's only practically today people will wake up to hear this, and for those who have to travel intercity and across the country, is it enough time to give them to get this done?
Yes, so if you look carefully at the statement issued by the Executive Director, it tells us that immediately you are done securing endorsement from the user agencies, you can start.
So can the endorsement be verbal then? Because you have to be there in person, and that's why I'm asking if there's enough time.
Yes, then the appointment letter has to be signed and stamped to indicate that you've been accepted. Then when that is done, then you can start the service with the user agency. Then later you go back onto your portal. So we did not tie the commencement date to the validation. No. If you look at the statement that was issued yesterday,
I'm looking at it now.
Yes, the validation is supposed to be completed by November 5. But in this case, we are looking at the commencement. And so what we are saying is that you can start your service while you take time to go through the validation.
So right now, personnel log into the portal, enter their details, they see where they've been posted to, and then they're supposed to travel there to get the endorsement.
To the user agency. Good. Yes.
So go to the company, get the letter signed, stamped, as you're saying.
Sure.
And so I'm asking you, this is 2 days. You're saying service starts officially on Monday.
Yes.
And you're giving 2 days for someone who has been posted from Accra to Bunkpurungu Yonyo to get their letter stamped.
No, these are user agency driven issues.
Okay.
Yes, we have brought out the timelines that in our system, that's how it's captured. Somebody may report to GTV, but GTV will say that, okay, for us, we are going to do internal orientations for all of you. So for us at GTV, you are going to start next week. National Service will
so the users will determine.
Yes, the user
agencies. Let me move on from that. What does this mean for the service calendar? So now that we are starting in October, is it going to push back the end of the service year further down 2 months, or are we still going to have them finishing around July and taking the month of August as leave, I think is what the arrangement is?
The decisions of management of National Service Scheme are guided by the document that brought the organization into being. And I'm referring to the Act of Parliament that tells us what to do. It tells us that service is supposed to be done for 12 calendar months. Now, we are starting in October. So once the Act has not been changed now, then it means that service is supposed to end next year, September. But previously, service should have started 1st September and would have ended next year, August ending. But if you look at it carefully, 11 months are the active working months for the personnel. But the last month is what we call paid terminal leave. They do not go to the user agencies to work, but we still pay them. So in this case, they are going to end the service in August, and then September then becomes their terminal leave. We're still going to pay them, and so we'll have that 12th calendar month stipulated in the Act. So that is the arrangement we've done.
And does that then presume that the next service year would also start later? Because I am asking if we should foresee a few months where we have 2 batches of service now in organizations, if one is ending later and the other presumably starts on time next year in September.
No, we're not going to have that clash, because in September next year, virtually, basically, the existing service personnel
would be on their paid leave.
Yes, on their paid leave, and they will not be physically working in September.
But there will be a month that National Service will be paying 2 batches of service personnel.
So that's well understood.
Okay, I got
that's
that.
well understood.
I got
then it means that the new ones who would start service on the 1st of September next year, then it means that we're going to have the payment for the 2.
Okay.
Yes, that's well understood.
They're always, and let me just quickly encourage our viewers. I know that you're watching and you have questions. National service postings have been released, and whatever questions you have, the PRO is here and he's taking a few more minutes to answer some of them. So send your questions and comments to our WhatsApp number 055-5561-034, and we'll try and get to as many of them as possible. He'll also announce maybe a number that you can call, or someone that you can speak to if we are not able to answer all your questions. Service is supposed to start on Monday. It's Thursday. You're supposed to start service on Monday. You need to know where you're going. Go there and get your letter endorsed. But validation is supposed to be on November 5. So I've just taken a few questions off your plate. If you ask those ones, we will not read them out loud. Mr. Sa, there's always the case that Accra and Kumasi, for example, get the largest numbers of service personnel. Is that still the case, and why?
Yes, you know, the posting is done based on certain factors. We do activate a lot of factors which serve as the basis for our deployment. We consider about 6-7 factors for deployment, and one major factor we consider in the deployment is what we call the user agency request. That is where the organizations make official requests to National Service to supply them the personnel. I call it demand and supply factor, in the sense that once the user agencies make requests to us that they want a certain number of personnel for their organization, we'll have to supply that. But you notice that we have a huge concentration of businesses in Accra. Permit me to use your organization as an example. If I say GBC Ghana, fine. But if I say GBC Accra, you have GTV here, you have Unique, you have Obono, you have GTV Life, you have GTV Sports. And so if you decide to make official requests for NSPs and you want 20, what it means is that it's likely you would even allocate about 15 to GTV or GBC Accra, because this is where you have concentration.
You have for,
yes,
for the numbers.
Yes,
so
because when we go
I think I follow that.
Yes, and so that is the consideration why we have a lot of allocations to Greater Accra and then followed by.
There's a question on our Facebook stream. Remember, you can also leave your comments on our live streaming on Facebook or on YouTube. Ajiman Wilfred is asking, please, it is not all personnel that were posted. Some are still on registration verified, awaiting posting. Please, any explanation to
Yes,
that?
that's true. That's true. We operate a very sensitive, smart, robust, automated system. The slightest discrepancy, the slightest irregularity you put in your registration details, you'll be arrested and placed on hold. And that's what has happened to a lot of the personnel. So they're supposed to go back to their original offices to be cleared for posting. What happened is, if you are filling the enrollment forms, there are some basic information you're supposed to supply. First of all, you upload a clear picture. If your picture is not clear, you will be arrested and placed on hold. If you did not fill your forms very well, there are some of them, I should have got some of them. The name of the next of kin and the name of the personnel is the same. The telephone number of next of kin and the person who is filling the form is the same. Because you operate a very sensitive software, as soon as some of these discrepancies are detected,
they get flagged and then you get put.
And then the last one is those who did their national service after polytechnic, or they did their service after diploma. Once you are done, you proceed to the university. Once you are done, the university would submit the class list of the final year student to us. They do not know that some of these people have already done their national service. But once you have done, we have your biometrics, we have your details in our system. And so the system would easily arrest you and place you on hold. So some of them did their service after polytechnic, and then they've been placed on hold.
Okay, Mr. Sa, I'd like you to hold on to your pen, write down a few of these questions from the public, and we'll try and run through as many of them. We are fast running out of time. Here's one that said, please, has there been an increase in allowance this year? So allowance. Okay. Hello, good morning. Please, I would like to ask, is if it's okay that my appointment letter on the dashboard is not opening even though I have been posted? Also, can I go to the agency I was posted to even though it's not opening on the dashboard? So that's another question. Okay. Good morning, GB Sam Kojo from Kokomlemle. Please tell your guest that the appointment letter is not available for printing on the dashboard. Please, any help, please. I'm trying. Oh, so many messages. My name is Kumi. I've received my posting and went to print it out today, but they said the appointment letter is not yet out. Can you ask him for me? We've asked him for you. So a lot of issues with the appointment letters. This one says, good morning. We are aware NSS starts on Monday, but in case the appointment letter doesn't show on your dashboard before Monday, should we still go ahead and go to the place? So this dashboard matter and the appointment letter not printing. Let's address that, and then we'll come to the issue of whether allowances have been increased.
Yes, sure. And
keep sending your messages to us. I'll read as many of them as I can. So let's try and answer very quickly.
Yes. No, the appointment letters are supposed to be downloaded this morning. The plan of the scheme was to release it yesterday, allow them to view the appointment letter, but they will not be able to download it yesterday, but it's supposed to be downloaded from this morning. Okay. And so we will look into it, but they are supposed to be downloaded.
Okay, so you should be able to download your appointment letters this morning. If you tried yesterday and you didn't, we'll try again this morning.
Yes.
Allowances, any more?
As we speak, it's the 559.
559.
Yes, 559. That is what we're going to give them. But we are hoping that some discussions and broader consultations will be done, and then recommendations will be sent to cabinet, and then cabinet will take a decision. This government is a listening government, and so they are so concerned about matters of the youth.
Okay.
And so I know they're going to.
There's one here asking about what about those who defaulted in doing the service? How do they get back to it? So take note of that. I'll read a few more. Good morning, please. I have opened my dashboard, but I'm not seeing anything. That's another concern. Try and send comments that are related to this topic. Please, good morning. On my portal, I'm seeing personnel posted, but I'm not seeing where I am posted to. So all those who are having problems with the accessing the dashboard and then the appointment letters, maybe it's something that you can take up with your IT team to look at. Another one says, hi, please, my status is still awaiting posting till now. What should I do? So for those who are still awaiting posting, you've said that it means that their details were not completely captured and that there were issues. So they need to...
Those people are supposed to go back to the original offices with a copy of the registration form they filled with any national ID. They are supposed to go there with a student ID and a clear picture of themselves, passport picture, saved with their NSS number. Once they go to any of the regional offices, even if they've been posted to Ashanti region and currently they are in Accra, they can visit the Accra office, get cleared, and then they'll be posted.
Okay, so now let's address the sensitive, because it's always a sense every year, the request for reposting.
Yeah.
It creates large anxiety. I mean, the anxiety levels are always high, but even the numbers at the offices of the National Service Secretariat are high. What's the plan for this year? Is there a plan to actually agree to repost other people, and what would the process be?
This year we are not doing reposting. Management has taken decisions.
For any reason?
There are only 4 reasons where management has approved will do reposting. Apart from those grounds, we will not entertain reposting. The first reason or basis we'll consider for reposting is for those with special physical abilities, the physically challenged. If anybody is physically challenged in any form, you can visit any regional office, because the executive director has given instructions to the regional directors. You come to the headquarters, mention my name, and quickly you'll be posted closer to where you stay. And the second reason where we can do reposting for you is for our ladies who are heavily pregnant. The executive director has taken a very good decision that we don't want to put you so far away from where you stay because you are pregnant. And so once you come, and then we notice, even if it's not you are not heavily pregnant, but we notice that you are pregnant, you will be reposted closer to where you stay. And national service, this may be a bit funny, but it's serious. We do not want to separate marriages. And so the decision of management is that, especially the ladies, for the guys it can be relaxed a bit, but for the ladies, if you are married and we have a proof of marriage, you will be put closer to where you stay. We think that for a period of 12 months, it's not appropriate for us to separate you, to put you in Western region.
It's not appropriate to put the woman away from the man for 12 months, but it's appropriate to put the man away from the woman.
Oh, it goes for both, but
this
normally
is touchy for me now, because now it's a gender fight.
Yeah, the gender fight. You see,
no problem. So, yeah. But those are the four reasons.
Yes, and the last one is where they are genuinely rejected by the user agencies. And so we can deploy about 7 to GTV. GTV may say our resources, our space can allow 6. Then the one that's rejected comes back to us, and we do the posting for you.
Okay, maybe I'll read some of your questions off screen to Mr. Issa to answer. Someone who is asking if they've done service already, but they still haven't found a job, did a diploma, now they have a degree, can they do service again? I'm trying for you here. Does reposting attract money? So do people have to pay if they find themselves in these 4 categories of genuine claims to be reposted? And this is another one asking if you can do the service a second time. Yes, so let's wrap up on those ones.
So first of all, there's nothing like a fee for posting. Postings do not attract any fee, and that is, we've always issued a statement to that effect. There are a lot of groups out there on social media branding themselves as agent of National Service Scheme, doing what they call special posting, extorting monies from unsuspecting personnel. We have always said that it's illegal, and so we have even asked the BNIs and other security institutions to look into it. Anybody found culpable will be prosecuted. So you are not supposed to pay money to anybody to influence the posting. And then to service, you are done with your service, you cannot do service again.
Okay, they are asking when are you paying transport fee for the service year, because till now we haven't received or heard anything. I'm trying here, and those of us who finished our service this year, most of us have not received our certificate. Why the delay?
I'll be surprised to hear that most of them have not received, because that's one of the major digital innovations we have introduced since 2017. What we've done is that we have digitized the certificate, and so immediately you are done. I think last month or so, all their certificates were digitized and sent into their emails. So the person should check into the email, and then the hard copy is also being delivered by FedEx to all of them. Because before they finish school, we take the physical locations of all the personnel.
So services, yes, I've got that, but I'm sorry to interrupt, but we really have run out of time.
No problem.
Transport, if they're getting on Monday, today they should be out shopping and they should be going to the transport yard. When is that happening?
No, we don't pay them transport for the commencement. That we put that together at the end of the service. So I'm sure the person who asked this has completed.
It's from the previous one. Okay.
Yes,
all right.
yes. But I'm sure if it's not gone, I'm sure this week it will go.
I was going to let you make a case for why people should even accept or to put themselves up to serve the country in this way, but
let me
run out.
summarize it in 30 seconds. That is 20. So key. In 20 seconds, that's so key because first of all, it's a legal requirement. Secondly, it's for job market requirement. If you do not have your national service certificate, no organization, either public or private, is supposed to employ you. It is even illegal for private organizations to employ anybody without national service certificate. And we are boys. I know boys are listening to me. Today, if you are done with your first degree, you want to access scholarship to do further studies, and you do not have your national service certificate, you are not eligible. And finally, if you are contemplating holding public office, either by appointment or by election, if you do not have your national service certificate, you are not eligible.
Right. Mr. Armstrong Ncaa, thank you for joining us on the table. Mr. Ncaa is the head of corporate affairs of the National Service Secretariat in explaining what the postings that were announced yesterday mean for personnel out there. He's reiterated the service allowances have not been increased, no reposting except for those 4 conditions that he mentioned, and do not pay anyone to get yourself reposted. So service starts on Monday, October 11, and you're supposed to get your approvals in place before then so you can start. Validation is reserved or is marked to be on November 5. 12 calendar months, it means there's 1 extra month of service, not really an extra, but it's moved forward by 1 month. And so that's the information that you need to know. Get in touch with the regional headquarters or the National Service Secretariat, and if you have issues with your pending posting, so that they will resolve those issues for you as well. And that's all the National Service wants you to know this morning, and we'll put you in touch with Mr. Ncaa and the team to help you resolve any more of your issues, any more issues that you may have. You're still watching Breakfast, and Val is ready to bring it all down to a lighter note as we gear up to go into our Friday, because then the weekend actively begins. But on Thursday, we are heating up for Friday. Val will return after the break. Please stay with us.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
Hi and welcome to this side. The warmer and the lighter side of the breakfast table is still GTV breakfast. Like we've been announcing before when the show started and during the show, we're going to have a conversation on traditional music and how it's evolved. And has it even evolved? Is it in the same old state? Is it doing better? To have this conversation, I have two musical legends in studio to have this conversation on traditional music. Before you get to meet them and find out what they have in store for us, this segment is brought to us by kindness of Airtel Tigo. They are responsible for bringing the show, and hey, we'll take a break.
I just sent you Airtel Tigo money.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. And so I have Dela Botri, the flutist, musical artist, and I have Amanziba Nabru, musical artist in studio. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey. Good morning.
Oh, I want a better hello, a livelier one. Good to match our set, yes. Thank you, that's better. That sounds like Amanziba, you?
Ojeko.
Ojimla. That's more like it. So guys, welcome to the studios GBC and GTV Breakfast. We are live on all our social media handles, guys. Follow us, share our stuff, contribute and send your comments. We have Amanziba and Dela, which we in studio. We are having a conversation around traditional music, guys. So it's meant to be interactive. We are waiting for you. Our WhatsApp number is 055-5561034, and this show is brought to us Kanketsi at Tigo. Okay, so to our conversation. Is traditional music, is it dead? Is it still relevant? Yeah.
Me or Amanziba?
I'll start with Amanziba.
Yes.
Yes, he's a senior.
Yes,
so okay. He's been around longer than any of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, the oldest man in the whole world. You have to know that. When it comes to the question of music and then qualified as a traditional music, we're supposed to be discussing it dispassionately. You understand? Because it stirs up emotions. When you set out to denigrate the very foundation upon which you want to build, it doesn't get your fundamentals right. Before you step out and sing a note out of your throat or play an instrument, that sound had existed already. What we are doing currently, we are only re-echoing the voices of the past. There's nothing new. We are only probably using modern inventions to produce what you hear currently. Nothing. Anybody who tells you that they're doing music without recognizing the very foundation upon which they want to build has missed the point. That's the reason why Ghana is not even out there like so visibly for everybody to see on the international arena. Go to Mali. What they do is built on traditional music. Go to Senegal. Go to Guinea. In Guinea, I mean, we're talking about the Moricantes. We are talking in Mali about the Salif Keita, Umu Sangari, and all of the
Baba Miles and Senegal and used to do. If you go to South Africa, unfortunately, Hugh Masekela is gone, Miriam Makeba is gone. But all these people that I'm even mentioning, including Oga, Fela, and Nicola Popiti, respect to him. All of them lived here and learned from here. So at a point when Fela came out with Afrobeat, you have to know that he had to experiment with quite a number of rhythms. I think he was a jazz musician. He wanted to, play the classical jazz. But he was smart enough to have recognized the value of traditional music. So he took bits of high life and took bits of juju music and took bits of jazz. After all, jazz is African music, no matter how you look at it. And music in itself, because of this continent's history, anthropology tells us that everything started from here. So if everything started from here, why do we actually think that we can shelve what we have, imbibe what we don't have, and send it out there on the international arena? You're not original. Originality is the primary consideration of every A&R man who wants to listen to you and see you've got something unique. Maybe my guitar works is different from what he's heard. Maybe my rhythms, my drum patterns and everything is different from what he's heard before. So that's what you have to use to appeal. And so traditional music in itself is the music that we have all thrived and we have all benefited from. Because, for instance, if you take I don't want to take much space. Let me
Della come in as well. What are your thoughts? Traditional music, is it alive? Is it dead? Is it relevant?
Traditional music is not dead. We are preserving it, developing and promoting it. But I think for some years back at GBC here, Achu Atome and the rest, I will still say it again, because GTV, you started all over. You have a program called Music for the Countryside. And this Music for the Countryside educates a lot of people and unites the people as Ghanaians. Because if you go to the northern region, upper east, upper west, Volta region, how do you call it, western region, all this region, they show their music to us, we the youth. I was then 10 years, 1979. So I follow this and love this. And I never deviate from it. Professor Ncaa, whom I work with for 10 years, will say Dela will do a contemporary, but he will never leave his tradition behind. I always have it with me, because without the tradition, all the contemporary I'm doing is nothing. The foundation of the music, as Amanzoba said, is my root. And me as a person, I'm coming out with a trend of music, which I'm going to name AAM. Meaning authentic African music, because I'm beyond Ghana. I play music from all the regions of Ghana, and I travel by the help of the French ambassador, former French ambassador, to Mali, Conakry, Senegal, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, to study their music and bring back to Ghana here. And they brought some of their musicians back in Ghana. So traditional music is not really dead. We need to preserve them. We have to see that any form of music that is like contemporary or urban music, it can be played, but government or our people, we have to make sure we preserve them, because that's the only thing we have that shows our identity.
But when something, just let me chip it.
Sure.
When something is dead, if traditional music was dead, we would have seen the obituary being announced.
That's a good one. On our screens, we have some of our traditional playing instruments on the right. Amanzoba, would you say that our forebears in music here in Ghana, would you say that they maybe let the younger generation down by not imbibing or instilling the fact that if you want to do music, hey, you're doing music and it's coming from Ghana, but you have to improve on Ghana's traditional music? Do you say that our forebears have maybe let the younger generation down a little bit?
Genetically, I mean, we inherit from our forebears. We don't pick from them. It is an intrinsic thing, an inborn sort of virtue that you pick from them. You understand? They are not necessarily made to teach us. We have to learn from them. You understand? After all, who taught the first teacher?
Right. Guys, that's the question from Amanzeba. Send in your comments. I'm not going to be on the firing squad, guys.
No.
Who taught the first teacher? I mean, who taught the first teacher, guys? I'm about to send that to 055-556-1034.
Now let's focus on traditional music.
Right.
Go to the seaside, along the coast. Go from the south to the north. All over the northern region. Wake up in the evening and go from community to community. And you feel music. People who have actually manufactured their own instruments and are sitting back there and giving you the grooves. Look, all we need to do is, I'm very grateful that I'm seeing the strenuous effort that you guys and management and everybody, particularly GBC, is putting in for it to take its place again. Because this is our GBC.
Yeah.
You understand? This is the GBC that we have known, that have helped to, disseminate whatever information we put out there.
Yeah,
GBC was set up professionally. So you don't just walk into GBC and have a material and present it and expect that it is shown on TV or played on radio. A certain kind of scrutiny is actually done before you receive anything, and it is an official receipt that indicates that it has been taken in, and so you know you are in professional hands. Kudos to all of you, and I'm sure that with the help of some of us, and especially with with traditional music, trying to make sure that it's not dead, you will have to give us the platform, the opportunity to prove it.
Exactly.
If you go to the, like he's saying, the western region, the central region, northern region, Volta region, everywhere, you find women, traditional musicians with unique instruments that you have. Those who play with the shell of the snail.
I'm yet to.
Exactly.
And also the calabash.
And the calabash. And the ones who use the bamboo.
Yes.
To create rhythms.
Western region.
I'm sure if in a week you focus a little bit on this, because the information is available, people start rethinking. You don't push things.
Shove it in their faces.
People know what to do. I mean, I should not be the only person playing Malaria or Bajeka. It is our rhythm. So how many people are there doing it? Maybe, well, we'll make sure that everybody knows that traditional music is not dead, because
it's not dead. Yes.
It's upon that we have got all forms of genres that we have in this country. Basically high life, and then they came with the hip life, and then they came with hip hop and dance hall and whatever. But with all these, there are periods of experimentation, and then definitely the chickens will come home to roost.
Yes, definitely.
When they become conscious of the fact that, no, why shouldn't I be proud to present myself out there as a Ghanaian artist? I should be there and be able to defend what I'm doing, defend high life, defend traditional music.
Right.
So, but like Amanzba said, when he came in with Malaria, that was way back, I think in
92.
And I was like, this is amazing, to be honest. Because Palago is a recreational music.
Right.
And he took it for a different direction. And he took Wogbe, which is also a traditional rhythm. And he mixed it with the contemporary extensions. So in this case, you see that the traditional music is not, it can be blended with contemporary extensions. But the fact is that it depends on who consumes it. You understand?
Yeah.
Because if you have a platform like GBC used to show to us way back in the 70s, music for the countryside, I think, should be back again. Because this is our heritage.
We should keep it.
If you don't preserve it, develop it and promote it, because I travel abroad and teach our Ghanaian music. Sometimes, I think last 2 weeks ago, I have to give a lectures to some university. You do EDA or something in the US. About 70 of them, I'm giving a Zoom lecture to them. It's all about our music, the method. How do we, you understand, music that we normally sing in occasions like naming ceremony, all these things is vanished. But if we try to revive it, show it back, then the younger ones will learn from it.
Right.
Because I was a youth when I was following all this. So the youth, their focus is different. But the idea is that they don't have any idea about traditional music.
Right. Also, I need to ask, is there a clear-cut definition for traditional music? Like, what is traditional music?
You know, our tribal distinctions set us into the kind of music we present. Predominantly, Adwa is with the tree speaking.
Amanziba, I'm sorry, you have to hold on to that thought, because I have to make those who are making this show possible, I have to make them happy. So we are going to take a quick break. This show, the lifestyle segment, is sponsored by Airtel Tigo. So hey, we have to go for some acknowledgements. And so Airtel Tigo, we'll take a quick break. Here we go.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is The Breakfast Show.
Welcome back for the quick break. I'm still talking traditional music and how it's evolved with two musical legends, Amantiba Natbru and Delabutri. Amantiba, before we went, I asked you to define what traditional music is, but hold the thought. There's a message from somebody who is in love with you too. He says, we have to promote more of our traditional music and culture. Our media houses need to play a role. Our government also need to invest in our traditions and culture, music, arts and dance. And this is from Togbe Ghana, the Ewe dancehall king he calls himself. Okay, Togbe Ghana, we hear you. And so Amantiba, back to you. And
yes, like I was earlier saying, our tribal distinctions define the various time forms of music that we have to play with. I mean, predominantly, we all play the 6/8 and the 4/4 and other time forms of music. But Ewe 6/8 will vary from Asante 6/8 because the drums that we play, we have all of these distinctions that belong to, if the Asantes are playing at Denkum and stuff like that, we have the one beat that will okay. And so the one who is dancing Agbaja can go with the beat. The one who is dancing Adwa can go with the same beat. So we are actually united by rhythm and groove.
Exactly.
You understand? Because I can relate to what you, especially when you take the Sahelian, the Moroccans, and so whatever they play, they are almost always in our 6/8 groove. So if I sit here and a Moroccan is playing his rhythm, I will understand it and get into the groove and maybe sing something. You understand? So actually, yes, I would say that there are various, laid down procedures that you use to bring out any form of Ghanaian music, traditional music.
Right, also. What are the components? Is there a particular rhythm we follow? This is from somebody who probably wants to go into music.
We follow our various instruments like this atentemben. Is that not what it's called?
This atentemben, this is the Ghanaian baboon flute.
This is the simplest instrument that you have ever set your eyes on. But the wonders that the gentleman makes, I remember when we went to Algeria, right?
Yes.
When we went to Algeria, we were in Libya too.
Yes, yes.
And it was amazing because what we were giving out to the people were just our traditional music.
Yes.
And if you see the kind of involvement that came from the various countries that are assembled in Algeria, you see, the Algerian government assembled the entire continent in Algeria culturally. For what benefit? If you don't promote your culture, your visibility is so dim. I am telling you, the investment that we are pushing into destroying our environment, digging the ground and causing all the havoc, bring 50% to the entertainment industry. Revamp the very, very, very indigenous media houses. This is one of them. This is Nkrumah's dream for all of us to benefit from this. We are sharing our little space with the entire globe. Mind you, the content that you present here has maybe about 1 or 2% of traditional music and entertainment. So how else do you expect that the very people that this was established for will actually enjoy you? They will be following the trend now. Now you are becoming trendy. You have to set the space. The pace.
Okay, so not to cut you off and not to hold on to your comments, most of the younger generation artists, musical artists that I've spoken to, when I ask about a little bit of traditional, they always say that there's a component of traditional music in their music, and they have actually built on the traditional music genre. Do you think it's true? We have so many now.
You see, we have over 600 rhythms in Ghana alone. Ghana is holding over 600 rhythms by Professor John Collins, who made a research. I went to interview him, I think last month or last 2 months ago, because I wanted to know a little bit more, because I know some rhythms already, but I wanted to explore more to know what is happening within our zone. But you see, it all depends on some of the producers who produce the music in the studios. They don't have an idea of, when you say kundum, what is kundum? What is bamaya? What is nagla? What is jira? What is tora?
Right.
What is agbeko?
Right.
What are the elements? What are the response? What is the master drum in it? What are the chord structures? So if you don't have an idea of these things, then you have a problem, because they don't have an idea, but we have to set it up for them. So I'm gradually talking to the Goethe Institute and see how best they can help us to bring in producers who produce music, and then, okay, we know that Bamaya rhythm is okay, let's put it down. Let's put the structures of the chord. Now let us strike in the Bamaya or the Dagbani chords. Let us put it there. Let us put some rap in it. There are things like this. We can slowly.
Music producers have a lot of
course, some
influence in how
fruity loops, and they just create the beats, and they call themselves musicians. But to call yourself as a musician, if you go to Denmark, they'll call you a recording artist, because you have to speak music language. You don't have to speak my lyrics. Now you have about 70, 100 students sitting down in front of you. You are going to sing your song. You are not going to sing your song. They are expecting you to speak the music that is coming from your country. You have to speak musically. You have to write down the notes. You have to write down chord structures. You have to write down the melodies.
Right.
You have to write everything to attach the staff or the staff, whatever they call it. You have to understand all the things. So you can call yourself recording artist, but not a music. You're an artist. You see, but we need slowly, the younger ones will get to know if they understand all these things. This is going to give more education.
Yeah, but when you get out there and probably you are even at the immigration and somebody sees your passport, oh, musician, oh wow, what instrument do you play?
Yeah.
They first ask you the instrument you play. You understand? So basically, you see, Dela, I have a lot of respect for him because he practicalizes the theories. You understand?
Yes.
And so he speaks as a musicologist. But the fishermen at the beach who composed most of the songs that we sang never stepped into the classroom, never read a note, and do not understand what your elitist idea of music is. But you say,
right.
No, when they are pulling the net from the sea.
Yeah. Amanzuba, you see all the vibes the two of you are giving us. My producer is in my ear that we don't have a lot of time.
Ooh.
So no.
Tell the producer we are sorry.
Well, he's hearing you, but no, he wants you guys to actually wow our audience. Amanzuba, we can't have you in studio without you singing something small for us. Stella, you have your instrument here and everything.
The tone, the sound of my voice this morning, don't you think it's horrible enough? You want to come and sing? Okay.
Yes.
Don't worry. Once you are here, you will all be part of what we are going to do.
No wahala. There we go.
Charlie, okay. I've got to just to see. We are the only people in the world who sing like this. My brother, man, you are my DJ. Israel's spawn on the egg. I'm like a DJ in Fenya. What do you go? I don't go me. I go, yeah, I go, so, yeah. I go get the Kentucky, the market, Kuntakin, Nakalete. I go get the Kentucky, the market. Raskaf was the one who played the keyboard. Kafui Day is the one who played Palogo Fever, if you remember.
Kika!
And he was part of Palogo here too. He played the keyboard there, right there.
Kika!
So, you know, we are talking about, he understands what we are saying. And I'm glad that you have him here, part of the GBC network, because I know the value that he's going to actually impact.
Kika!
So, you know, Charlie, boy, honey, just a little bit. No, D. Que yo la cosmo que mo minimale ni mana mi jeda. Que yo la cosmo que mo minimale ni mana mi jeda. Wole mami kemi ba wo bole mami kemi ba la hami mi she. Dodo wani mi suma bozu wami no hami mi she da. Dodo wani mi suma bozu wami ka wo mi re o kwa o. Yami ve kekete fonsu moro bojo mi shiwe son. Yami de jon wule ben kemo mi no kumo. Mi sumamo, bebe mi sumamo.